What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 3 OK Chapter 51 The second template calls for the power of instinct. Orochimaru's defection did not cause much psychological fluctuations for ordinary people in Konoha. In particular, the reason for the opponent's defecting was after being discovered through human experiments. In the past, the original respect for Konoha's hero, the cold-kun Orochimaru who won the second and third ninja wars for Konoha, has all disappeared. Instead it became disgust. This is the unwritten rule of Ninja Village. Anyone who defected must be the problem of the ninja itself. It has nothing to do with Konoha. The storm will always pass. Orochimaru's defection, Jiraiya's departure, after all, left no special marks for this peaceful village. Spring has come completely, and the warmth is nourishing the earth. People enjoy a brief peace without war. After third generation returned home and shut himself down, Minato became completely busy. The things that third generation could only handle in the past made him a little bit burnt. He also discovered for the first time that there are so many problems in this warm village. The contradictions of the big families, the prying eyes of the hostile ninja village at the border, and the daily work of the ninjas. He has completely shouldered a Shadow's accusation. Being busy means less time with his wife, but compared with the original book, Kushina's life is not so boring. Konoha, fourth Hokage's home. Looking at the two people who were sitting in the living room properly, Xiao Chili laughed and took out the dark food she had recently developed. The poor chicken wings in a pan were placed there. It's hard to imagine how she can copy out 7 colors with such delicious ingredients. Just a glance, Sharingan under the mask of Itachi had been forced out, as if he was facing an enemy. I'm going to train with Jansong. He quickly stood up and rushed out of the balcony. Itachi unconsciously oozes a trace of cold sweat on his forehead. He quietly turned his head and glanced at the trembling Kakashi-senpai. He was a little gloating. The task of protecting 4th generation's wife has 2 more people, which means that even if you are careful, you will be discovered by 4th generation's wife, who is an orphan of the Uzumaki clan. Simply, Manato waived the rules when doing tasks and made an exception to allow the 3-person team to accompany his wife up close. This is also a way of compensation for Kushina, but this is a pain for a few people. During pregnancy, Kushina didn't think about other things, but the dark cooking skills rose to a certain level. It is impossible to eat. Shaking all over, Itachi turned his head to look at Jansong who was dazed on the roof with some doubts. Are you resting? It shouldn't. Even when performing tasks, Jansong still maintained the intensity of swinging his sword. This kind of laziness has never happened. He didn't know that Bajian at this time was receiving the baptism from the evolution of the King of Ping Chop template. Ding! Congratulations to Master Host for swinging the knife 8,000 times and getting 0.2% of the unlocking progress of all the King of Flat Slashing templates. Ding! Congratulations to Master Host, the first template has been unlocked by 10%, and the second template permission has been activated. Would you like to draw it right away? After changing the daily tasks, Bajian used his sword as long as he had time. In Konoha, he always feels bound. That kind of restraint comes from the weakness of his own strength. Perhaps he is already far ahead of his peers, but the huge space for ascent makes him not satisfied at all. He wants to become stronger, so strong that no one can influence him. Strong enough to do whatever you want. The easy task of guarding gave him plenty of time, allowing him to practice frantically. Because he knows that at least the current Uzumaki Kushina is safe enough, the due date is still very early and Obito will not appear. High-intensity training means all-round improvement. The never-ending daily tasks have allowed him to complete a small transformation. Whether it's chakra, physique, or ryotsu, it grows exaggeratedly every day. And now, after his efforts, Zaraki Kenpachi templates have reached 10%. Draw. Without explaining anything to Itachi, who was looking at him in the distance, Bajian's low voice was a little bit excited. Who will be the next king of flat slashing? Ding! Congratulations to Host for getting the template from Shinigami, the second king of flat cutting, the power of instinct, virtual white. In my mind, an invisible light beam is invading all over the body. Laughing wildly after another, wantonly tortured Bajian's nerves. But in an instant, his sturdy mental power swallowed it, digested it, and finally turned it into his own power. Power from instinct. A strong ryotsu rose to the sky. Immediately afterwards, the ordinary Zanpakuto in his hand rose instantly, with weird lines all over the blade. At the end of the blade, a few dark chains only entangled Bajian's arm. Empty white. It comes from the power of the imaginary in Kurosaki Ichigo, the protagonist of the Shinigami world. Also the real Zangetsu, call for the power of instinct. Feeling the destructive power all over his body, Bajian's free hand suddenly covered his forehead and laughed wildly. I see. In my heart, there is also a wild beast. Fight. Endless fighting. With a fierce look in his eyes, Bajian's gaze inadvertently looked at the ferret next to him. In just a moment, the huge pressure made Itachi a little breathless. Jianzhang. What happened to him? What a look. The only certainty is that he has become stronger again. The flowers and evaluation votes were basically not added today. Not a single monthly pass. Damn it, is it cold? When, cry. The fifth one is delivered, and only one ticket is needed for the edition, please beg. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 52 Honestly, Kurama. Zaraki Kenpachi unlock progress, 10%. Master ability, sword pressure, basic slash. Virtual white unlocking progress, 0%. Master ability, combat instinct. King of flat slashing feature 1. Chakra blade. Unlocking 5% of the virtual white template will unlock the second feature. Feeling the power in his body just around the corner, Bajian took a deep breath. Unlike Shinigami, this power is more violent. The essence is the void eroded by Kurosaki Ichigo's mother, and it is the second Zangetsu. Gently waved Zanpakuto and brought it to him. Bajian's eyes were slightly obsessed. This is his knife. Because of the change of Ryotsu and the emergence of the second template, it has also evolved. The strange lines are tightly wound around the chain of the arm. Full of wildness similar to Bajian's own character. Unlike Kurosaki Ichigo's Zangetsu in the Shinigami world, this knife has a heavier feel. Especially grasping on the handle of the knife, the feeling of blood connection makes Bajian swing the knife more freely. At this moment, he has reason to believe that as long as his strength continues to improve, he can even unlock his own Zanpakuto ability. Shaking his head and putting the knife on his shoulders, the turbulent fighting spirit also slowly disappeared. The power of instinct is very mysterious, only in battle can you further explore. In addition to the surprise of Bajian with the arrival of the second template, the overall improvement brought by the 10% progress of the first template also made Bajian very satisfied. Template power, every 10% unlocked is a watershed improvement. Although his move is still flat cut, the destructive power that can be exerted is no longer comparable to before. Jonsong, I'm afraid I won't be able to catch up with you in this life. Bajian had calmed down, and Itachi jumped to his side with a wry smile on his face. This puts too much pressure on people. I thought that Sharingan was turned on, so he could catch up with Bajian's footsteps a little bit. But the facts proved him wrong. Judging from Jian Sang's oppressive sword, his strength has been improved by leaps and bounds. Jianang's strongest attack method was his sword, and the change of the sword also meant that Jianang's own strength increased, which Itachi was very certain. But he never asked where Jianang's sword came from, nor how he learned that terrifying slash. Everyone has their own secrets. He can have no reservations about Jonsong, but he does not force Bajian to say something about him. Because Itachi understood that Bajian wanted to tell him, so he said, there is no need to ask more. It was like returning from outside the village that day, and wanted to follow the other party to enter ANBU, but was put to sleep. At first he was a little angry, thinking he was abandoned. But after thinking about it, he realized that Jonsong did this for his good. He is not only a friend of Jonsong, but also the son of the patriarch of the Uchiha clan. Even if he helps as a friend, he will be used by those who are interested to become the Uchiha clan who has opinions on the village. And this is one of the reasons why Itachi has more and more respect and admiration for Bajian. Don't doubt yourself, don't think so much, this power is not just my own. To be honest, I am very grateful to you for being my sparring partner for so long. Patting Itachi on the head, Bajian showed a warm smile that can only be shown to friends. Yes. How many rainy days, the tired and exhausted teenager is still with him, so that the knife he wields is not so boring. What this said? I don't know what he thought of. Itachi blushed and just wanted to switch the topic quickly. Ms. Sister has made a meal, do you want to eat it? Kushina's meal. Bajian sighed and pulled Itachi into the room from the balcony. Sitting on the sofa, Kakashi was frowning, struggling with the mysterious food. The sturdy man had leaned in and grabbed the chicken wings and took a bite. It's crunchy, but it doesn't taste like chicken. There are things that can be compared to Anko's dark dishes. Bajian's eyes are bright. Since childhood, in addition to his sharp swordsmanship, with Anko's unremitting efforts, he has also created an incorruptible stomach. With this dark chicken wings, he doesn't feel that he can't digest it. Well, next to him, Kushina's eyes lit up when she saw Bajian's mouth move, and she seemed to have discovered a new subject. Just about to say something to encourage the other party to eat it all, her expression suddenly felt painful. The slightly bulged lower abdomen was gestating new life, but at the same time, the evil forces that existed there began to become restless. From pregnancy to childbirth, every day in Jinchuriki is accompanied by danger. That is the fate of Jinchuriki. The loosening of the seal gave the tail beast trapped in the 8-sign seal an opportunity. One of the reasons why Minato sent a guard to Kushina is to beware of this situation. Seeing this, Kakashi frowned, stood up and was ready to go to the Hokage office to move the soldiers. But a figure suddenly rushed to Kushina. The figure is not tall, but this moment is full of reliability. Flicking his fingers at Kushina's lower abdomen, Bajian's pupils slowly shrank and became needle-like beasts. Be honest. 9 tails. The low roar shook the whole room suddenly, and Kushina's painful expression disappeared without a trace in an instant. This boy. With eyes wide open, her maternally radiant face was filled with incredulity. In a word, 9 tails is trembling, let's eat. Ignoring the strange gaze, Bajin picked up the burnt chicken wings and took a bite. As if everything has nothing to do with him. Is this the new power Jansong has gained? Itachi took a deep breath and finally let go of his clenched fist. Jansong said that it was not his own power. Well, there is also my credit. Plus more delivered. The head really hurts today, and if you add a change, there will only be one change. Thank you for your votes and flowers, thanks to the little author. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 53 Familiar Teaching Test, Familiar Scene. What you said is true. At night, 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato returned home tired after a busy day. Bajin and Itachi have left. The work of guarding Nine-Tails Jinchuriki is carried out during the day, and there is no need to squat by the window at night, but Kakashi is still conscientiously hiding outside to guard the teacher. But when he got home, Minato was stunned after hearing what his wife said. Why lie to you? You should be aware of something with your perception. Kushina blanked Minato with dissatisfaction. With the special nature of Nine-Tails chakra, even if it only loosened a little, her man had already noticed it and hurried back. But in fact, this damn guy didn't go home. Sorry, Kushina, I thought you suppressed Nine-Tails again. I wanted to come back directly with Flying Thunder God, but there is too much work at hand. Minato was full of guilt, not that he didn't care about his wife, nor that he didn't want to come back. But after Nine-Tails chakra disappeared, there was no way to get caught up in the work at hand. Of course, if Nine-Tails chakra continues to leak, he will naturally rush home to check the situation. But, just now Kushina said that Nine-Tails was quiet today because of a word from her disciple? Real or fake? That's Nine-Tails, known as the strongest tail beast full of hatred and evil. Will you tremble with a word from Bajin? Kushina has no reason to deceive herself with this kind of thing. It means that Bajin has the ability to suppress the tail beast. Is his secret? Minato was a little emotional, but this is a good thing for him. He was even a little grateful for Bajin to be a member of the Kushina escort team. This ANBU's task was to eliminate the attention of the senior management to Bajin. But even for this kind of task, it can show his extraordinariness. Don't tell the public about this. Touching the new life conceived in the lower abdomen, Minato said softly. Also, what do you think of night? Confidentiality is certain. If it is known to outsiders that a child has the power to fear Nine-Tails, I am afraid that those at the top will be even more afraid. At that time, it is estimated that I will not be able to protect him. Well, how do you say it? Kushina touched her chin. I looked like a lunatic when practicing, but unexpectedly reliable. It seemed that strangers would not enter, but if I got acquainted with him, it would give people a warm feeling. In addition to being sensitive to chakra, the perception of the Uzumaki clan can also see some essence. In Bajin, Kushina can only see these. Is that so? Nodding, Minato's eyes softened. He thought Kushina would label Yi a rebellious teenager. It seems that my teacher is still incompetent. ... The warm sun shines on the earth again, and the spring is about to pass, and the breeze of early summer is very soft on the cheeks. This season, even pregnant women want to walk around. But what puzzled Bajin was that Kushina brought a few people to the Konoha No. 7 training ground. Looking at the stake in front of him, Kakashi turned his head with a pain. Hidden under the mask is endless grief. Familiar scenes flashed through my mind constantly. The laughter of the two companions also stimulated his nerves. Why come here? Kakashi shook his head violently. Having touched the scene, with an arm resting on Kakashi's shoulder, the familiar wine gourd was handed to Kakashi, and he turned his head to see his junior. The other party seems to know himself very well. Even at this time he knew everything he needed. He took the wine gourd and squatted under the tree and raised his head. Although Urgyutu's wine strength is great, it can't numb his nerves. Drink less, and remember to cooperate with my attack later. After grabbing the wine gourd, Bajin patted Kakashi on the shoulder. Cooperate with your attack. What's the meaning? Kakashi's eyes were filled with confusion. Master. Mother. Ahem, what are we doing here? Even if this identity has been completely engraved on them, Itachi feels uncomfortable every time he calls his wife. Wait, you'll know in a while. Kushina didn't have much pressure, she just came out for a walk, and watched by the way how her husband educates her apprentice. Time slowly passed, and when a golden figure fell on the court, the eyes of several people looked past. Sorry, I didn't expect the morning meeting to last so long. Namikaze Minato scratched his head and was a little embarrassed. It was obvious that he asked his wife to bring 3 children over earlier, but he was late in the end. Seeing this scene, Bajin has reason to believe that the tradition of Kakashi's late arrival was inherited from Minato. Well, you 3. When they came to Bajin, Minato's eyes suddenly became serious. Kakashi doesn't need to say much, but Bajin and Itachi. As a teacher, I don't know enough about your strength. Without understanding, if the new Minato class goes out to perform tasks, I'm afraid it will be in a rush. So today, as a teacher, I will perform my duty to understand you enough. Jingle bell. A string of bells appeared in Minato's hand. Exhaust your abilities, take the bell. What a familiar scene. What a familiar exam school. But the people around him are not Obito and Lin. Kakashi let out a long sigh. The taste of the 5-flavored bottle in his heart was somewhat indescribable. Only, what will happen if you change people? Vaguely, he seemed to find that he was expecting something. Oh please. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 54. If he hit the knife, he would really die. Namikaze Minato, a regrettable character in the original book. There is no special blood succession boundary, and it is not born in the occult family. But it was such a commoner who did a lot of things that the bloodline clan could not do. With his own efforts, coupled with good fighting talent, he has been recognized by everyone. Step by step, from the bottom to become a respected Hokage. There is no doubt that he is a strong man. Although he is standing there looking at you with a sunny smile, he will feel an invisible pressure. He is a veritable cage-level powerhouse. Even if it wasn't the 4th Ninja World War, the real golden flash that could be turned on when Sage Mode was turned on, but he was still incomparable. Flying Thunder God Technique, Rasengan. He can develop the limits of the tossing moves. Coming to fight. Konoha No. 7 Training Ground, the new Minato class has been completely formed. The 3 teenagers are opposed to Namikaze Minato, Konoha's 4th Hokage. Bajian stands in the middle, and on the left is the Itachi who directly turned on Sharingan. On his right side, Kakashi looks solemn, but somewhat helpless. Come to fight. Kakashi knows exactly how strong Namikaze Minato is, and it is unrealistic to grab the bell from such an opponent. But the person next to him wanted to face the battle. Unlike Kakashi, when Minato saw that weird Zanpakuto, he had already drawn out his special kunai. Teacher, are you doing something? The corner of Kakashi's mouth twitched. Others may not know the special kunai in Minato's hand. What exactly is that thing called the Sword of Forbearance? His heart is like a mirror. Flying Thunder God, Golden Glitter Fame Stunt. You have used Flying Thunder God, and let us grab the bell from you? Just kidding. Minato is too bully. On the sidelines, Kushina, with her stomach upright, was also a little speechless. Use Flying Thunder God to deal with 2 5 or 6-year-old children? Madness. Suddenly, a voice of indifference and mockery made Kushina stunned. This is, Nine Tails? Nine Tails took the initiative to speak to herself? Kushina blinked her eyes wide in shock. That kid's knife, if you touch it. It's really going to die. In the mysterious sealed space, the former noisy Nine Tails lay inside the big iron gate, with 2 paws lying on each other like puppies, but the pair of beast pupils looked at everything outside through Kushina's eyes. Only the wagging tail from time to time shows that its heart is not peaceful. The tail beast can observe the outside world through Jinchuriki. That kid. His eyes narrowed slightly, and Kurama moved his body unnaturally. No one knows what it went through when that rant yesterday. Yi Bajian's pupils stared at it, full of killing, wildness, and fighting spirit. That's the keen intuition that beasts have. In just a moment of looking at each other, Nine Tails felt tremendous pressure. It is different from the anger when being controlled by Sharingan. There is a real illusion of death. Just like Shinigami's gaze, the trembling from the soul. Kurama can be sure that the other party does not have any blood on the old man of 6 paths, so where does the power to control life and death come from? It doesn't know, it only knows that the kid is there. It can't toss Kushina. Is 4th Hokage and that kid duel? It seems interesting. But Naruto's thing, except for the one called Senju Hashirama, none of them can play. Just take a look. It only sleeps or remembers the short videos of Uzumaki Mito, RMVB and Uzumaki Kushina.mp4 all day, and it is also interested in this battle. Huh. With Namikaze Minato shooting Flying Thunder God Kumo forward, the battle officially began. Earth style. Earth flow wall. Teacher, I will confiscate your karma first. Kakashi, who knows the way of fighting in Minato very well, doesn't want to be when Flying Thunder God unfolds and puts himself at a disadvantage. A not-so-large earth wall directly blocked the direction of Special Kunai's progress. Brother, you are not saying that your chakra is limited. The ferret next to him suddenly frowned and stretched out his finger towards the earth flow wall in front of him. What's wrong? Kakashi nodded. The lack of chakra, this is not his own problem, but the inability to turn off Sharingan, so that he no longer consumes chakra all the time. What's the matter with the dog's head on that? Looking at Itachi's gaze, several dog head statues clearly visible on the Tuliu wall were really stunned. The head can be broken, the blood can flow, and there must be no dogs on the wall of the earth flow. Kakashi did not explain this. Kakashi has grown to this level. Namikaze Minato nodded in relief. The ninja who restricts the master's space ninjutsu does not give the opportunity to expand the Flying Thunder God formation. This is an effective method. But, with his eyes gleaming, the little son's figure disappeared instantly, and the next moment he moved to the special kunai. The light blue light slowly gathered in his hand, and a Rasengan was formed instantly. Boom! The earth flow wall shattered in response. But the next moment, to Minato's shock, a huge burning fire knife had already slashed at him. What kind of fighting is this? Is this the tacit understanding between you and Itachi? Yi. As expected to be my disciple, this enchanting attribute is the fusion of Chakra Blade and Fire-style Great Fireball. I named it, Knife Escape, High Wind, Flame Swirl, /0. Awesome. Bajien, who was holding the knife flat and slashing, shivered all over, almost unable to maintain the movement of swinging the knife. Worthy of being a little son, the name given is really unique. But, how do you take this cut? Please ask for votes. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 55, Power Driven by Instinct. The fiery flame knife slammed into Minato, and when the earth trembled suddenly, a golden light rose into the sky. Golden glitter. After Konoha's second Hokage Senju Tobarama's death, he deservedly deserved the highest speed in the ninja world. Such an attack would not restrict him too much. But when he leapt up, Zanpakuto with a cold light slashed down from the front. At the same time, Itachi's fire style and Kakashi's rakery have completely surrounded him. The three little guys are really difficult. Minato gave a wry smile, but in desperation he could only use Flying Thunder God to get out again. But when he just landed in the place where he prepared the Flying Thunder God technique before, a figure suddenly appeared. The iconic sword that was completely out of balance with the boy Billy appeared in front of him. Knight? When? Can you keep up with the speed of Flying Thunder God? No, not to keep up, but foreseeing in advance that he will be transferred here. How could this be? Minato looked solemn, as if to prove his guess. He held Bajian's knife with one hand. Then the other hand fluttered another Flying Thunder God kunai. When Kumu crossed an arc, Minato's figure disappeared instantly. Flying Thunder God's second stage, in the original book, the move used by Minato during the Master-Disciple Duel of Destiny. It was also this trick that unexpectedly attacked Obito. Rubbing out the light blue balls with one hand and pressing them against Bajian's back, Minato's gaze carries a certain element of expectation. What is he expecting? Next second, boom! When the huge knife successfully blocked Rasengan with the blade, a loud noise and the impact of Rasengan made the two figures fly upside down. Below, under the mask, Kakashi's mouth grows wide, with an unbelievable cancellation of rakery in his eyes. How can it be? Teacher's Flying Thunder God, is it invalid for him? This kind of thing never happened. Even when fighting with Cloud Shinobi Village's ab combination, this mysterious Flying Thunder God can suppress the opponent. It is as expected. Looking at his apprentice, Minato has a slightly complicated look on his face. He really saw through the direction of Flying Thunder God's teleportation. Being surpassed by an apprentice sounds very proud, but he clearly didn't teach himself this apprentice anything. Can you tell me, what did you use to discover the weakness of Flying Thunder God? With a wry smile, Minato asked. Although a little unbelievable, what is in front of him is already a fact. Whenever he teleports, the other party can accurately appear at the location where he wants to teleport and make a counterattack. With the knife just now, Yi's knife was turned sideways, and he didn't use the sharp edge of the knife to face him. If it is a head-on confrontation, he will probably be cut in half first, and then Bajian will be hit by Rasengan. A lose-lose style of play. However, he will die, Bajian will not. It was just an exercise, so Bajian had some reservations, and he himself had reservations. But Flying Thunder God was found weak, this is a plain fact. Flying Thunder God has no weaknesses. Bajian shook his head and retracted Zanpakuto. Flying Thunder God technique is a very powerful space ninjutsu in the original book. If you want to insist on weak points, the consumption of chakra may be the most fundamental problem, so Minato will not use other extra moves to waste chakra except for Rasengan and Flying Thunder God. As he said, there is nothing wrong with Flying Thunder God itself. Then how do you see through where I want to teleport? Minato asked suspiciously. Flying Thunder God technique was created by the second Hokage Senju Tobarama and was further improved by him. He himself did not want to admit that this technique would have such a big weakness. After all, he used this trick to forcefully break his name in the Third Ninja World War. Konoha's golden glitter. Intuition or instinct is appropriate. The pale red light in Bajian's eyes flickered, and the needle-like pupils slowly recovered. Picking up the knife, he will be transformed into a beast. This power comes from his second template, the magical power of virtual whiteness. Calling instinct. In the battle, as he enters the combat state completely, he will completely lock the target and use the closest instinct to achieve the most effective attack. Locked by this instinct, he can predict before the opponent uses moves. To explain it in a more vivid way, it looks like observation hockey in the world of One Piece. But this instinctive way of fighting is more mysterious than observation hockey. After all, the second template he unlocked was just less than 1% empty. Intuition. This can no longer be described as a genius, it is right to use an evildoer. Minato raised his forehead and didn't even know what to say. While speechless, he was also somewhat fortunate. At least so far, only Bajian can perceive the direction of Flying Thunder God's transmission. Otherwise, his golden glittering name might not last long. Jingle bell. The bell rang, and Bajian stretched out his hand. The bell that hung around Minato's waist was taken away by him at some point. Does the teacher know us deeply enough? Then the true purpose of today's test can be said? The real purpose? Itachi and Kakashi were taken aback, and looked at Bajian somehow. Isn't this a question to test team cooperation? Bajian shook his head without explaining. The golden glitter in front of me is Konoha's fourth Hokage. What do you think Hokage's responsibility represents? How could he have so much time to accompany the 3 disciples to do tests? Therefore, Minato must have its own purpose. I'm so angry. I repaired the electricity downstairs. From time to time, the switch was turned off. I could only write the code word on the phone, so the writing was a bit slow. 5 more will not be less, please rest assured that the organization. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 56 I Can Only Trust You. Although the Third Ninja World War has come to an end, the border is not peaceful. The most obvious performance is Cloud Shinobi Village in Thunder Country. Cloud Shinobi Village is different from Konoha because they didn't get any benefits in the Third Ninja War. They're still creating frictions with all their main battle thoughts. Konoha, inside the Hokage building, Kushina has been escorted home, but Minato has left behind his 3 disciples. Pointing at the border map of the Land of Fire, Minato sighed. Wars are not so easy to pass. The loss of Konoha is increasing every day. Yesterday, Hyuga Hizashi, who was guarding the border of Thunder Country, sent back a message saying that Cloud Shinobi Village is about to reinforce the front line based on the information returned by the spies. Hyuga Hizashi is under great pressure. Although the Hyuga clan who owns Byakugan put great pressure on Cloud Shinobi Village on the battlefield, Konoha's people fight more and less. The supplies from the rear also put a heavy burden on Konoha. In short, I need an absolutely elite team. The purpose is not to turn into a sharp knife to tear the front of Cloud Shinobi Village, but to destroy the opponent's supply line as much as possible to find out what Cloud Shinobi Village is going to do. With a wry smile, Minato looked at his 3 disciples a little ashamed. In the past, this was his task, but as Hokage, now this naughty eye really cannot do without the village. And the most embarrassing thing is, looking around Konoha, he has no one to use. No one is really available, as Hokage, when you find that no one but yourself can help. This feeling is terrifying. What happened to that tough Konoha who is known as the #1 ninja village? Now, even an elite team can't be formed. Originally, he wanted to hand over this task to Uchiha Shisui who had just returned to Konoha. But Shisui is the person at the root. When he found Danzo's important person, Danzo shied away because Shisui was performing other tasks. Even more exaggerated is that Danzo does not intend to tell Minato Shisui what tasks are being performed. That is the root. When working for the village, nothing disappeared. Konoha Sanin, who should defect, defected, and those who should not defect also left the village. The Lord Third Generation said that he was sick and left home. This was Konoha's most embarrassing period. The old people were too old and didn't obey orders. The small ones are too small and have not fully grown up yet. Dignified Hokage, there is no helper. Bajian looked at the bitter Minato and shook his head. This passage was made by the Hyuga clan in the original work. But the loss is also not small. It also directly caused Cloud Shinobi Village to completely miss Byakugan of the Hyuga clan. After the death of Minato, the Third Generation took the position, and the negotiating team sent by Cloud Shinobi Village could not wait to design Hyuga with conspiracy and tricks, and forced Hyuga Hizashi to death. It was also that time, his weakness refreshed Bajian's perception. Third Generation did not dare to fight. From his point of view, it is better to lose one person than to start the war again. But from the perspective of the Hyuga clan, this approach is too cruel. There is no way to judge Third Generation's approach. Everyone considers the problem from a different perspective. If you switch to second Hokage Senju Tobarama, you will definitely lead all Konoha shinobi to fight. Battlefield. Thump. His heart beat violently, and Bajian's hand holding the knife tightened even more. He understands Minato's difficulties. Konoha at the moment, no one can really help him. Is it only necessary to destroy the supply line? Kakashi spoke first. In this regard, he has his own experience. Yes. An extremely painful experience. The Third Ninja World War, the same mission, he lost 2 companions. Kakashi, this time is different from Shinsubi Bridge. It is not the kind of mission that must be successful in desperate situations. You have to be clear about this. Minato frowned. He was afraid that Kakashi would link this mission with the previous one. I understand, Mrs. Minato. Kakashi shook his head. This kind of task of the elite boy thrusting straight into the back did remind him of the not-so-good picture, but now is different from that time, and the companions around him are also different. If you lose your mind during the mission, it will hurt your teammates. Until now, the remaining warmth in Obito's eyes has always reminded himself not to give up every companion, and do not let his companions get hurt. That is the only way to find light from the dark. After receiving the map, Kakashi's breathing became a little short. This time, there is no doubt that he is still the captain. He has the experience of Jonin and the keen sense of smell for countless missions. Bajian and Itachi didn't say anything, and turned behind Kakashi and walked towards the door. Knight, Itachi, Kakashi. At this moment, Minato behind him suddenly stood up and shouted. When the 3 children's faces were clearly seen, Minato's eyes were red. Konoha, I can trust and entrust you, except Kushina, only you. Please. Huh. The specially made Kakashi hasn't lost it to Kakashi, who steadily caught it in his hand. When you encounter an unsolvable situation, send chakra inside. This time, I am a teacher, never be late. Please ask for votes. Thank you for reading this story at ntlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 57 Eyes in the Dark. You seem to be very happy. Coming out of the Hokage building, Bajin glanced at the excited Itachi. I seem to have heard some people say that I hate war. Jonsong, hating war is one aspect. Itachi shook his head with emotion, but at the same time, we can help Mrs. Minato. We are proud to protect those who are worthy of protection. He really hates war. War means death, but now, there is no other choice but to contribute to the land underneath. Jonsong also asked me if he still looks excited. As he said, Itachi pointed at his hand that was shaking with excitement, grabbing the handle of the knife. I am different from you. Bajin chuckled and lifted Zanpakuto, ignoring the surprised eyes of those around him, and strode forward. Like his people, his sword will attract countless lights. But he is indeed different from Itachi. Guarding Konaha? Guard the land under your feet. Forget it. That's not what he should do. But excitement is inevitable. The awakening of this ability makes him eager to fight. A deeper understanding of the power of instinct in the fight. In Konaha, his desire will never be satisfied. The front line is the paradise he likes, where he can enjoy blood. After this level of excitement disappeared, Bajin was still a little melancholy. When he traveled to this world, he never thought of having too many bonds with the people next to him. There are 3 or 2 confidants, accompanied by knife and wine, to go where they want to go. That's it. Even if he went to the front line this time, he was only helping 4th Hokage, his nominal teacher Namikaze Minato, to solve the problem. If at this moment Konoha's Hokage is Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sorry, he didn't have the spare time to help him guard Konoha. Bajin thinks that his grievances are distinct, and Minato is the only one who stands up when he is under suspicion. This alone is enough to make Yi Bajin feel good about him. It's no big deal to help him once. Above, for 2 reasons, he took over this task. Together with Kakashi and Itachi, doing what Minato class did. Assemble tomorrow morning and have a good rest tonight. Leaving the time to gather, Kakashi jumped off the street. Jonsong, my father said, if you have time, I invite you to sit at home in the evening. It was Itachi who grabbed Bajin's sleeve and asked a little shyly for his opinion. Uchiha Fugaku's invitation? So why are you so nervous? If you put on an extra pair of chopsticks, will uncle mind? Bajin stroked his chin. The sakura flower of Uchiha hasn't withered yet? Anko said I wanted to see it before. This is a question. The Uchiha clan still missed your sister Emil? Itachi turned Byakugan straight and pulled Bajin's sleeve straight to Midarashi's house. Master Danzo, Yi. Bajin went to the Uchiha clan. On the dark roots, a figure fell in front of Danzo's cabin, and across the door, the face of the visitor was full of bitterness. The conscience of heaven and earth, Shisui didn't expect this new mission to be this. Monitor Yi Bajin. Monitor your friends. The struggling Shisui was full of contradictions. If it wasn't for the lack of opportunity these days, otherwise he would have found the other party and told him to be careful. No way, this task is not performed by himself, he has not found a chance to withdraw. What happened? What will Master Danzo do to Bajin? What should I do then? Friends and leaders, have you gone to the Uchiha clan? Really? Danzo's expression was calm, he couldn't see his face, and Shisui outside the door couldn't understand what the other party's tone wanted to express. What happened to the Uchiha clan? As Itachi and your friend, there shouldn't be any doubt about it in the Uchiha clan, right? Shisui would like to ask this question very much. But he understood that even if he asked, Lord Danzo would not tell himself. Continue monitoring. Waved, Danzo lost interest in continuing to listen. Wait for Shisui to leave. Danzo looked at the scroll placed in front of him, on which was clearly drawn a knife extremely haki. Zanpakuto of Bajin. Slowly closing the scroll, Danzo stood up and looked outside through the only window. Namikaze Minato, you really think you are Naruto? That position belongs to the old man. According to the news left by Uzumaki Mito and Konoha's major events in history, Nine-Tails Jinchuriki was the most vulnerable during childbirth. Orochimaru, it's a pity, you didn't want to be the last chance. There was a cold light in his eyes, and Danzo's figure disappeared into the darkness. I'm very happy to have friends like you, and thank you for taking care of Itachi during the last mission. The Uchiha clan, the home of the Fugaku patriarch. Looking at the uninhibited teenager who was drinking in front of him with satisfaction, he nodded. Fugaku had listened to the whole process of Itachi's mission last time. Fugaku admired the figure standing in front of his son at the critical moment. Whether as a father or the patriarch of the Uchiha clan, he felt that he should express the etiquette and hospitality of the Uchiha clan to treat each other, but there has been no time, and he finally had a chance today. Bajin didn't artificially say anything polite, and he didn't need to talk about his relationship with Itachi. Nodded to Fugaku and raised the wine gourd for a suffocation, that was enough. It's just that the light of his eyes finally fell on Uchiha Makoto's bulging stomach. Slightly bigger than Kushina's belly. After this mission, Sasuke should be born soon. My younger brother is about to be born, will Jonsong be his teacher? Itachi said suddenly. How do you know that it is the younger brother? What if it is the younger sister? Bajin raised his eyebrows. No, it must be the younger brother. Itachi said in a very affirmative tone as if he had blown up his hair. Cut. Traditional Brokon. Bajin flipped through Byakugan. Fifth more cent. Well, if you add more, a flower is just fine, hee. Thanks to the little author. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 58. It says your blood is not good. Looking at Uchiha Makoto's belly, Bajin seemed a little emotional. Uchiha Sasuke. It seems to be a particularly annoying character in the original book. Apart from revenge, there is no other topic in the mouth. What he did also showed the mentality of an avenger to the fullest. There is such a sentence. Uchiha Madara lacks trust and walks on the opposite path to Senju Hashirama. Uchiha Itachi lacks understanding and bears infamy. Uchiha Obito lacks love. For Lin, he chooses to subvert the whole world. Only Uchiha Sasuke, what is missing is the severe beating from the society. Bajin once said this with a smile on his lips and then said a few words. You can get rid of that passionate sense of substitution and watch Sasuke's life with a bystander mentality. It is not easy for him. When I was a child, Sasuke was cute and curious about everything around him. But Itachi's actions ruined everything in Sasuke. The love for life and the enthusiasm for companions were completely shattered with the endless loop of Tsukuyomi. Compared with Naruto, he has enjoyed the love of his father and mother as well as the care of his brother. This is his happiness and misfortune. Sometimes enjoying losing is more painful than never getting. Just like in love, although single dogs sometimes admire couples, they can't understand the pain of couples after breaking up. Very intuitive embodiment. Sasuke is crazy for revenge, but he has no choice. Shaking his head, Bajin suddenly reached out to Uchiha Makoto's bulging belly. If someone else made such a move, I'm afraid Fugaku would have already stepped forward to stop it with full vigilance. But this time, he chose to trust. Trust your son's vision. Trust this companion who protects your son from standing in front of him. The Uchiha clan is not so difficult to communicate, it's just that it is difficult for foreigners to come to their hearts. New life. Feeling the faint soul fluctuation coming from inside, Bajin blinked curiously. The inheritance of life is worthy of respect. The maternal woman is the greatest. It's hard to imagine how much pain Itachi endured when he raised his sword and swung it at his mother. Snapped. Withdrawing his hand, he gently patted it on the face next to Itachi. The young Itachi obviously didn't understand what this light slap meant. Be sure to honor your parents, what this said. Itachi had shame on his face. Could it be that Jonsong found out that he was busy performing tasks recently and didn't have much time to accompany his parents? Thanks for the hospitality, uncle. Tomorrow, Itachi and I will leave the village for our mission, so we will go back first. As for the safety of Itachi, just leave it to me. Standing up, Bajin arched his hands to Uchiha Fugaku and Makoto. He was really full for this meal, and the warmth of a family dinner also made him a little emotional. Please, knight. Fugaku nodded. As the patriarch, he is not obliged to see the guests personally, so the job is still entrusted to his son. In the courtyard, Anko Izumi is still looking at sakura flowers. Anko was impatient, and knew that his younger brother and the patriarch of the Uchiha clan might talk about something, so he came out early. She is very sensible. It seems that after Orochimaru left and experienced ANBU's things, she grew a lot. This is appreciated. Seeing his brother coming, Anko beckoned to Bajin from a distance. Under the sakura flower tree, the siblings cuddled together, and the sakura flower fell on their shoulders. This picture made Itachi look forward to it. In the future, if there is a chance, I will also take my younger brother and stand under the sakura flower tree like Jonsong, and tell him some things that he used to fight side by side with Jonsong. That picture must be beautiful. In the early morning of the next day, several figures appeared outside Konoha village. Bajin hates the way of saying goodbye between relatives before leaving, so Anko is still asleep right now. This task is very arduous, I won't talk about other things. In terms of experience, I have a little bit more than you, but before taking action, I will seek your opinions to determine how to fight. Is there a problem? Kakashi is already Jonin. After learning the painful lessons from the previous mission, he now starts to cherish his companion. It is rare that ANBU's cold-blooded Kakashi voluntarily said that he would solicit opinions. Let's go. The genius was bright, but the three teenagers were fiery at this time. With different purposes, they set foot on the border to the land of thunder. In the jungle, three figures shuttled fast, but not long after moving forward, a sneer suddenly appeared on Bajin's face and looked at Kakashi. Do you feel it? Well, I was followed, what are you going to do? Such things as tracking and anti-tracking are often encountered by ninjas, but it is absolutely problematic to be spotted just after leaving Konoha. This shows that the person who was following came from Konoha. Just do it. Rounding up the knife, without any thought of saying hello, a dark knife light swept directly behind him. Like a black crescent cutting the jungle, after a few screams, a masked figure appeared behind Bajin. The black crescent sky rushes. It's just a flat cut of vein and white. The goal is a knife, you don't need to stay alive. The leader said in a low voice. Need a knife? Bajian smiled. When he saw the other party's mask, he had already determined the identity of the pursuer. What puzzled Itachi and Kakashi was that Bajian threw his knife at the man casually. Did you accept your fate? This is not like Jonsong. Itachi frowned. With a sneer, the chasing ninja reached out and grabbed the hilt of the knife. Really dare to take it. Bajian's face was full of disdain, and he stretched out his hand and snapped his fingers calmly. Boom. The next moment, in everyone's horrified eyes, the ninja with the knife exploded into a cloud of blood without any warning. Demon knife. It is a veritable demon sword. Look, it says, your blood. Taste not good. Back in his hand, Bajian's pupils slowly contracted as he gently wiped the blood from the knife. A shaking god, his figure has already rushed out. Come on, fight, plus more delivered. Phew, today, due to the power outage, the update was a little late. The author apologizes. Thank you readers for your votes and flowers, thanks. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 59 Shisui, Never Change. Zanpakuto is based on the soul of Shinigami. Shinigami gains power by knowing the name given to himself Zanpakuto and having a spiritual dialogue with him. The Zanpakuto in Bajian's hand is different. It originally came from the novice spree of the King of Ping Chop system. But after a long time swinging the knife itself and Bajian have had an indescribable connection. After unlocking the second template, the original power of the wild and the improvement of Ryotsu changed the otherwise ordinary Zanpakuto. It seems that liberation is only one step away, but Bajian can be sure that this knife only admits that he is the only owner. And because of his connection with Zanpakuto, even if the distance is far away, he can control it and put it into the system backpack at any time, so in the entire ninja world, he can only control this knife. In addition, if anyone attributed his power to Zanpakuto, it would be a big mistake. The strong is never the knife, but the person who wields the knife. Even if you change a weapon, the strength will not differ too much. After all, Bajian's own liberation has not yet arrived. Of course, only Bajian knows this information about Zanpakuto in the entire world. He hadn't expected the other party to hit his own weapon. Puff. When the last ninja wearing a mask fell, Bajian stepped on the opponent's chest, and then kicked off the mask of the corpse lightly. His appearance was unremarkable, and his face had the unique horror before his death. This is real death. The soul is destroyed, impure world reincarnation can't save him. I thought you would stay alive and at least interrogate where these people came from. Kakashi came to Bajian and said with some confusion. He was really puzzled. It's not far from Konoha. Either the information they left has been leaked, or the other party cares about waiting for them to appear. But no matter which kind, they are somewhat unreasonable. Cut. Do you need to ask? Bajian shook his head and looked at the jungle in the distance. Come out, let's talk. Anyone else? Kakashi and Itachi became alert for an instant, taking out their shurikens and preparing to launch them at any time. But when the figure inside came out, Itachi's mouth suddenly opened and stared in that direction. Although wearing a mask, whether it is hide or the iconic scroll, it shows the identity of the person. Brother Shisui. Why are you? Uchiha Shisui. Sure enough, it's the same with or without a mask in front of them. Shisui took off the mask decadently, and besides the pain, there was endless confusion on his face. For the village, take back the knife in his hand. That kind of sharp weapon can only play its greatest role in the hands of the village. Even if you sacrifice a few people, it's worth it. These are the meaningful words of Lord Danzo before departure. For the village, take back the knife in his hand? Even the sacrifice of a few people is worth it? They are my friends. Let him act on his companions. Shisui couldn't do this kind of thing. He was even anxious along the way, using any method to remind Bajian and Itachi to escape, and he was also ready to stand up and help Bajian and Itachi get out in a critical moment. If it hadn't been at the roots all night and Danzo hadn't had a chance, he would have already notified the two of them. But judging from the results, his worries are completely unnecessary. Bajian is too strong, an elite team at the root, it can't help him at all. The blade energy that was slashed was like a black crescent, with that terrifying ability to destroy. Almost a group of people destroyed the root team. Brother Shisui, why are you here? Still a little unwilling to give up, Itachi asked a question he himself thought was stupid. Shisui, who also came over with a mask, was obviously with the dead people. And Shisui is the ninja of Konoha root, which means that this attack was initiated by root. Kakashi next to him also understood something instantly, and fell silent. It's about the village. There are some things he can't say. Sorry. Finally, after holding back for a long time, Shisui spit out 3 words guiltily. What are you going to do? From beginning to end, Bajian remained calm. He had guessed who these people were when they came out. Konoha is the only one who can play this trick. Unfortunately, he underestimated himself too much. Master Danzo said, for the sake of the village, you have to get back the knife in your hand. Shisui was bitter in front of the building and said his mission. Task. Kakashi suddenly remembered something and stared at Shisui. The problem before Shisui resembles the dilemma faced by his father and him. Mission, companion. Very familiar scene, but in any case, I can't deal with Bajian you. Suddenly, Shisui's gaze became extremely firm, and he summoned the courage to walk to Bajian's side. Trust me, I will ask Master Danzo about this matter. I don't even think about it. Why is it called for the village to take a shot at a companion? Sure enough, Shisui was still the same Shisui, never changed. Bajian smiled and punched him in the chest. Don't be confused. Go, if it's for Konoha in your heart. Go to the land of thunder with me, I will teach you. Please ask for votes. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 60 at this moment, it's just a fight. Shisui's arrival was an accident, however, although there was one more person in the team, it did not affect the speed of advancement. Kakashi expressed his appreciation for the new Shisui. Without him, between tasks and companions, he chose companions. This alone is enough for him to recognize. It's just that Shisui, who is moving forward, seems a little worried. Well, that's not good. He came out to perform the task, so suddenly joining another team to the front line, he always felt something was wrong. It stands to reason that now he should return to the route to report the situation. But even he himself didn't know what to say to Danzo after he returned. Do you know that Hokage is short of people now? To what extent? Taking a calm look at Shisui, Bajian sighed. The task of exploring the supply lines of the Kingdom of Thunder and destroying it all requires us to carry out. There are a lot of talents at the root, but I didn't see what I did for Konoha. This is the truth. If it wasn't a last resort, Minato would not pin his hopes on several of his disciples. So don't worry, if going to the front line desperately will break the rules for the village, then this village really doesn't need to exist. Patting Shisui on the shoulder, Bajian said earnestly. Yes. If going to the front line desperately broke the rules, then what is the point of everything he did? Shisui was no longer confused. This is a man who truly implements pacifism. It's just a little bit big, and it can even be said that whether it is Uchiha or Konoha, he will guard it. Itachi in the original book also inherited Shisui's will and feels that he can carry everything on his back. But ignores the importance of the companion next to him. The Sad family. Sad Uchiha. Master Hizashi. Konoha Shinobi camp at the border between the country of fire and the country of thunder. The flames of war have not been completely extinguished. For other Shinobu villages, the third Shinobi war has passed, but Konoha is still suffering. The scale of friction is not big or small, but it takes away people's lives all the time. Inside the camp, a Konoha Shinobi with a bandage on his arm walked into the command post, looked at the busy Hyuga Hizashi and shouted. Say it. Lifting his head, the tired Hyuga Hizashi had a little sadness in his eyes. Following the belief that the Hyuga clan is Konoha's strongest clan, he came to this battlefield. He is the head of the Hyuga branch house, and his mission is to defend the clan. Before the branch house is completely lighted up, the Zong family will not be dispatched to the battlefield. But every day, the number of deaths is rising. The reinforcements sent by Master Naruto have arrived. Reinforcement. Sometimes when facing a difficult situation, hearing these two words always makes people excited. But when someone mentioned the reinforcements, the corners of his mouth twitched, seeming a little helpless and at a loss. Here, how many people and who is leading the team? Hyuga Hizashi asked quickly. There are only 4, right outside. The footsteps approached, and when the 4 people appeared in front of Hyuga Hizashi, the latter did not have the wry smile on the face of the ninja who had reported the situation before. 4 people. Except for the 2 children. The other 2 people gave him a lot of confidence. The son of Konoha's White Fangya, Hitaki Kakashi. Although wearing a mask, the identity of the other party can be seen from the iconic hair color. In addition to him, there is also the third Shisui who broke the prestigious Shisui in the Ninja World War. With the arrival of these 2 people, Hyuga Hizashi suddenly saw hope. But there were 2 other children, one with a wine gourd around his waist with a knife, and the other with soft hair as if they had used Rejoice shampoo. Wearing a mask, you can't see your identity. Can't see the identity, but it can be ignored. Shisui, Hitaki Kakashi. They can at least relieve the pressure on the frontal battlefield. Unfortunately, Hyuga Hizashi was wrong. He did not see the hidden combat power of this elite team. Even after Hyuga Hizashi watched Kakashi and handed it to him about Minato's combat deployment, he was completely stunned. This turned out to be an elite squad deep behind enemy lines? Cloud Shinobi Village is the main battle ideology. This time they have assembled at least 4,000 ninja troops at the border. Led by 4th Raikage and 8 Tails Jinchuriki, they constantly put pressure on the border every day. And after the consumption of the Third Ninja World War, there are only less than 2,000 ninja troops left. Relying on Byakugan of the Hyuga clan, we can deploy combat plans and set traps in advance, so we can delay it until now. Taking a deep breath, Hyuga Hizashi looked at Hitaki Kakashi. What is certain is that Cloud Shinobi Village does not want to break through the defense line and kill the fire country. They will also pay a high price, so they have been draining our energy. Take care mainly, drag Konoha to exhaustion. There is no doubt that this tactic is fatal to Konoha. After briefly talking about the situation, Hyuga Hizashi sighed. Konoha does not have any effective measures against this tactic. Konoha consumed too much in the Third Ninja World War. If it drags on for a long time, I'm afraid it will really be dragged down. The information had been obtained, but Kakashi was not in a hurry to make a conclusion, but looked at the boy with the knife in Hyuga Hizashi's surprised eyes. Ms. Minato sees it thoroughly, so I want to make the capital the Cloud Shinobi village dragged down disappear. It seems to be the same as expected, ruining his supply line, and the pressure ahead will no longer exist. Kang. The broadsword pulled out from the ground and carried it on his shoulders and walked out of the command post. Let's go. At this moment, it's all about fighting. Ask for flowers. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 61 Advance Missions and Become the Real Shinigami. Is that kid the core figure of the team? When Bajin and the others left, Hyuga Hizashi's face was incomprehensible. No matter how you look at it, it is obvious that Hitaki Kakashi and Uchiha Shisui should be the dominant ones. At best, those two children came to the front to gather the number of people. Shaking his head, Hyuga Hizashi sighed. Hopefully, everything goes well for them. Only when you really come to the battlefield, that kind of truly oppressive atmosphere will make people cherish the original peaceful life more. Itachi said that he hates war, but for peace, he did things against his will. That is to be a part of the battlefield. When he was a child, Itachi had seen the scene of fighting everywhere, and his life was constantly passing away. After a few years, he once again felt the extremely depressing atmosphere. The borderline, the atmosphere of war is extremely obvious. The patrol team passing by, the medical squad carrying the wounded. From time to time, you can see traces of battles in the blood-stained land. Kakashi and Shisui are used to this. But Bajin came to the battlefield for the first time in a true sense. The smell of blood, the strange breath. Only the beating heart proves that he is alive. Fight together. What are you doing here? Voices like this continued to emerge in my heart, and the instinctive trend made the young man's hand holding the knife violent. Two options: bypassing the mountains and sneaking into the land of thunder, although it takes more time, but it will be much safer. Or, rushing directly from the weakest point of the opponent's line of defense is very risky, but according to the information given by Hyuga Hizashi, the fourth Raikage seems to go back to the village to prepare for negotiations with Iwagakure. It is temporarily not on the battlefield. The chance of success is not no. The former convenience is the Kingdom of Thunder, and stepping out from here means that the guard ninja of the Kingdom of Thunder will find an attack in the next second. No matter how you look at it, the first option is the most reliable. Ding. The optional sudden advance mission is coming. Mission title: The Real Shinigami. Quest content: Bloom in the killing, control instinct, let Zanpakuto taste the taste of blood, and harvest 3000 soul energy from now. Task reward: Reiatsu, mental power, and physical body are completely integrated to become the real Shinigami, calling for Zanpakuto to be officially liberated. 5% template progress, 1000 points for flat cutting. Host can choose whether to accept this task, and there is no time limit. Advanced mission: in addition to the daily task of swinging the knife, a task that suddenly appeared. The meaning of harvesting 3000 souls is obvious. Cut people. Keep hacking people until 3000 cuts. He can choose to accept or not, no time limit, no punishment. As soon as the system that had been silent for a long time appeared, Bajin was surprised. As for the reward of the task, he didn't seem to have the slightest reason to refuse. Close your eyes. As Reiatsu spreads, all the soul fluctuations in the front battlefield are imprinted in your mind, and only one of them is the strongest. Not surprisingly, it is Eight Tails Jinchuriki Killer B. Taking Reiatsu back, Bajin swept to his system panel. Host: Yi Bajin. World: Naruto. Unlocked King of Flat Cut Template. Zaraki Kenpachi, False White. Zaraki Kenpachi Template Unlocking Progress, 14.2. Unlocking Progress of the Virtual White Template, 4.2. Reach 20% of the second template, unlock the next character template. The next time the Flat Cut feature awakens, the second template's Virtual White Progress reaches 5%. Flat Cut points: 595 can be exchanged for template progress or mall items. Chakra amount: 180 elite Chunin level. Physical fitness: 270 extremely strong, reaching 300 will refer to the normal opening of 8 inner gates. Reiatsu: unknown. Activated feature: Chakra Blade. The template comes with features: instinctive power. The above is all his strength. After the breakthrough of the daily task, his attributes have been rapidly increasing every day. The amount of chakra is slightly lower, but Bajin never relies on the amount of chakra to crush the enemy, and the amount of chakra does not determine the strength of a ninja, and the concept of the so-called chakra amount is not so certain. After all, Genin's chakra, like Naruto, has crushed 99% of Jonin. This value is for reference only. In the same way, Bajin's chakra volume is only a part of his strength. He is playing the knife, and the progress of the template is the final point of determining the strength of the player. Putting away the panel, the boy lifted the mask and grabbed the wine gourd and started pouring it violently. Except for the unlocking of the third template, which is 10 points higher than the percentage required to unlock the second template, there is nothing unusual about it. Everything on the panel also gave Bajian a very intuitive sense of his own strength. The improvement of his physical fitness has already allowed him to swing a knife as he pleases. Controlling evil spirits, Zaraki Kenpachi's power is not easy. That was a terrifying man who was so powerful that he couldn't bear it. If it weren't for the upgrade of daily tasks, swinging a knife could still increase physique. I am afraid it will take a few years before this power can fully adapt. But now, as his eyes cleared, he let go of the wine gourd. Bajian's chest heaved violently. With a physical fitness close to that of a normally open door, you can fully bear the pressure of swinging the knife with all your strength. However, Bajian knows that the manifestation of physical fitness here does not really open a door, it is just a reference value. Follow me. The fight has begun. With the mask on, at this moment, the sharp fangs of the evil spirits have been completely opened. He chose to pierce the opponent's line of defense head-on. Ask for votes. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 62 Madman, he is a madman. What did you say? When the four-person team launched a suicidal frontal charge, the news was also sent to Hyuga Hazashi's command room. The Hyuga clan is good at detection. It was also the unique pupil technique that allowed them to block the invasion of Cloud Shinobi Village several times and made Cloud Shinobi Village miss Byakugan. Therefore, the advancement of Bajian and others was naturally discovered by Hyuga's patrol. At this moment, Hyuga Hazashi was dumbfounded. What are they going to do? With a four-person squad, you want to break through the line of defense and go to the rear. You are all cabbage in Cloud Shinobi Village. Assemble, ready to meet them and retreat at any time. There was no time to hesitate. He had already determined when he got the news. It won't take long for them to experience the cruelty of the war and they will retreat. At that time, the frenzied Cloud Shinobi Village might attack again. The ninja hurriedly went out to prepare, and Hyuga Hazashi smiled bitterly. Master Hokage, you made a wrong bet after all. Night fell. When Bajian looked at a stronghold in the Cloud Shinobi Village ahead, his eyes showed a strong sense of war. He had already sensed it in advance. There is only one ninja formation with less than 100 people in the store, and most of them are genin and chunin. As for jonin, there are only 2 or 3 appearances. Every jonin is a valuable asset of the village. Even if Cloud Shinobi Village did not consume so much in the Third Ninja War, it also lost a lot of jonin. And this kind of large-scale battle, genin and chunin are the most numerous. But most of the time it was used as cannon fodder. Do you really want to do this? Shisui's look is a bit complicated. His belief is not to rely on killing to solve problems. Even in the Third Ninja World War, he seldom actually shot and hurt people. The previous blue contest with Kurigakure also broke out on the illusion. When the opponent learned that it was him, he retreated straight away. But now, Bajian's mission is clear. Wherever you go, no grass will grow. First, our task is to attract attention and relieve the pressure on the border. The greater the movement, the more successful it is. Secondly, this is the battlefield. Not killing means being killed. I promised Senior Fugaku to bring Itachi home safely. Third, slowly, Bajian looked at the Itachi next to him. You asked when you came out, how many people have died in Konoha after a stalemate for so long? If it's just a stalemate, the casualties will attack 768. If it's the people killed by Cloud Shinobi Village from the beginning of the Third Ninja War to the present. Shaking his head, Itachi didn't say any further, it was a terrible number. No matter who it is, I don't want to recall the numbers. That number may be astonishing. Sometimes let go of the kindness in your heart, otherwise it will be cruel to your companions. Kakashi next to him had a deep gaze. When he heard these words, his perception of the man improved again. Unlike himself, Bajian has not really experienced war. But he realized what the cruelty brought about by the war, and even saw it thoroughly. To be kind to the enemy is to be cruel to your companions. Patting Shisui on the shoulder, Bajian took a deep breath and rushed forward. When night falls, it is the time to kill. When a few figures fell in the camp, the Cloud Shinobi Village ninja, who reacted slowly, finally recovered. Enemy attack. Puff. Just yelling out 2 words, his head shot up into the sky in an instant. Looking at everything below and higher vision, this ninja's consciousness plunged into darkness, and his life came to an end. Beheaded. An uncommon way to kill enemies in the ninja world. The blood was spilled on the face, and the power of the body completely descended. That prompted his desire to fight, exploded. Before this sword, everything is invincible. The dark crescent smashed into the only building in the shop in the dark, and Reiatsu mixed it with the chakra blade and blasted it to pieces in an instant. Fight. Keep fighting. The sound of the system reminder said the progress of reaping the soul, but that sound has been ignored by Bajian. The moment he held the knife, he was completely transformed into a beast. The great fireball that flew towards him was cut with a single stab. Bajian's figure disappeared instantly, and the blade had already hit the chest of the ninja spouting great fireball in the next moment. Blood splattered all over the face, and the opponent's entire body split into 2 instantly. Fear spreads. At this moment, raising the butcher knife to fight, tasting the blood, the not tall young man is like a demon. Madman, He is a madman. A certain terrified ninja finally couldn't handle this bloody scene and vomited it out. But before he counteracted the fear in his heart, Zanpakuto had already taken his soul away. The Bajian now is not like a human. Staring at the fighting back, Shisui's heart twitched violently. That's because you are not familiar with him. Itachi shook his head. Having overcome this scenario, he had already turned on Sharingan's rapid seal. Treat yourself warm and reliable. Treat the enemy until you die. Fire style. Great fireball technique. Under the night. The fight continues. Please Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 63 Jianzhang, I just want to keep up with you. The night of killing was not short-lived. But only 100 people did not delay the elite team for long. When the Cloud Shinobi village ninja who arrived after hearing the news was about to support, the 4 people had disappeared in the vast night. There is only blood and broken corpses that silently record the crimes that have occurred here. After a brief silence and grief, the ninjas of Cloud Shinobi village became angry. They swear that this account will be settled with Konoha. In the distance, when everything was passed to Hyuga Hazashi's mind through Byakugan, he was completely shocked. That squad did an unimaginable thing. Make a positive breakthrough and enter the territory of Thunder Country. Whether it was a surprise attack or the time of leaving, it was perfect. Konoha's sharp knife. This sharp knife is the glory of the village. Obviously, he who was whispering had not yet come out of the shock. In addition to the shock of the team's breakthrough, his heart also set off a stormy sea. Not for anything else, but the terrifying means of killing. Nauseous killing. It's hard to imagine, that is something a child can make. Beheaded. Divide the body into 2. The blood from the cracked body seemed to make him extremely enjoy. Is he really a child? Through Byakugan, he can see that person's face. He is eager to kill. Master Hazashi, Cloud Shinobi village is gathering troops and seems to want to break through our defenses. At this moment, the ninja next to Chuan Ling suddenly rushed over in a hurry. As expected, Hyuga Hazashi regained his senses and nodded. He has seen the matter of the other party's assembly. In fact, if there is no response from the other party, it is surprising. Blood debt can only be repaid by blood. Suddenly, hundreds of ninjas were brutally murdered. It's no wonder the group of irritable men in Cloud Shinobi village didn't go wild. But this time, he didn't panic. The team has gone deep behind the enemy line. All he has to do is to withstand the pressure before the opponent notices Kakashi and others. As long as the supply line is destroyed, the pressure on the frontal battlefield will be greatly reduced. As for the extent to which it can be achieved, it depends on how long the team can hold on. Send my order. Use traps and detonators to block the attack. Withstand. Not comfortable. On the frontal battlefield, the frenzied Cloud Shinobi village ninja attacked. And in a dense forest behind Cloud Shinobi village, Bajian asked the pale-faced Itachi. Such a killing was still too early for Itachi. The rise of Itachi in the original book was after Chunan's exam, and his strength began to increase rapidly. Even if you are a genius, you must pay attention to his age. No matter how you look at it, Itachi is still a child at the moment. Chakra's physical exhaustion made Itachi gasp and unable to speak. Come up. Frowning, Bajian stood in front of Itachi. Itachi. Inc. Not too lazy to talk nonsense, Bajian directly lifted the opponent's body on his shoulders. At this moment, Itachi's face was red as an apple. He didn't know whether it was exhaustion from the time he was on the road, or an adverse reaction caused by Chakra's excessiveness. What to do next? Kakashi's situation is not so good, and he is still a little frightened until now. When he left before, he had already heard the ticking movement of Cloud Shinobi village reinforcements. It's a matter of minutes. They finally left successfully. The next stronghold, cut all the way to the inside of Thunder Country, and rest after destroying the next area. Otherwise, the pressure on Hyuga Hazashi will be too great on the front battlefield, and I'm afraid he won't be able to withstand it. Opened the map and looked at it, Bajian said without a doubt. Is it going to fight again? However, it seems to have adapted. The scarlet Sango jade in Shisui's eyes turned. The extra kindness will harm his companion. As long as he remembers this sentence, he will not continue to be confused. Just by looking at this look, Bajian understood. Shisui, who galloped on the battlefield in the Third Ninja War, is back. Let's go, as soon as possible. Standing up with Itachi on his back, the boy took a deep breath and moved on. In terms of his physical strength, being alone does not feel too much pressure. When it comes to the next stronghold, it is estimated that Itachi has also recovered, so there is no need to worry too much. It's just that he doesn't think anything. But Itachi, who was behind, looked at Bajian's eyes with subtle changes. I'm still too weak. Leaning on Bajian's back, Itachi slowly closed his eyes and began to rest. From start to finish, I just want to keep up with you, Jianzhang. Master Hazashi, the enemy ninja has broken through the fourth line of defense. The fighting in the middle of the night continued. The war spread at the border, the explosion of the detonating talisman and the screaming screams of the Cloud Shinobi village ninja rushing deep into the trap one after another. But this time, Hyuga Hazashi didn't expect Hyuga Hazashi to be frantic at Cloud Shinobi Village. Prepare to meet the enemy, never let them pass the border. The fourth line of defense is also the fourth trap area. That is the last guarantee. Without any hesitation, Hyuga Hazashi directly ordered a full-scale confrontation of the enemy. Resist. Mainly resist this fierce attack, behind is the light. The real battle begins. The battle of ninjutsu, the battle of physical skills, when the chakra was exhausted, the bloody degree of the hand-to-hand slash reddened the sky. The blood is flowing. Both sides tensed that nerve. Whoever persists to the last minute is the real winner. The companion kept falling. Hyuga Hazashi still clenched his teeth. I don't know how long it took. When a touch of fish belly appeared in the east, Cloud Shinobi Village, which had been extremely aggressive, suddenly receded like a tide. A Hyuga ninja who was in charge of detecting intelligence ran over in shock. Master Hazashi, Cloud Shinobi seems to have received some news and has retreated. Retreated. Needless to say the reason. The light of the east began to spread across the earth. That touch of warmth made them feel the beauty of being alive. They did it. ... Ask for votes. The fifth watch is delivered, if you add more. 1 flower per ticket is fine, and it will be delivered later. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 64 When the news goes back to Konaha. Fire Country, Konaha. The villages that have not been affected by the frontline wars are still full of peace and comfort. Without really experiencing that kind of atmosphere, you can never understand how cruel reality is. They are enjoying the peace made with blood. Good. The calm atmosphere was suddenly broken by the high-pitched voice from the Hokage building. His hands seemed to tremble. The excited fourth Hokage Namikaze Minato grabbed the information that came back with both hands. Next to him, the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen appeared in the office again, and after hearing Minato's voice, he looked at the scroll with blood. He was very curious about what it was that made Minato, who had always been calm and composed, shout out. But when he read the contents clearly, the hand holding the pipe shook involuntarily. The Night Owl squad went deep behind the enemy and wantonly destroyed the supply line of Cloud Shinobi Village. Incomplete statistics have killed 100 enemy ninjas. At present, the Cloud Shinobi Village ninja at the border has retreated, and Hyuga Hazashi is approaching forward and constantly exerting pressure. It is certain that Cloud Shinobi's attention has shifted to the Night Owl team in a short period of time, and the pressure on the front line has been reduced several times. Yi Bajian, Uchiha Itachi, Hatake Kakashi, Uchiha Shisui. Everything is due to the 4 people. They succeeded. Although the extra Uchiha Shisui shown above made Minato a little confused, the news that came back was undoubtedly exciting. The role of surprise attacks has been reflected. Next, as long as the Night Owl team continues to create chaos, the pressure on Cloud Shinobi Village will increase. Can be relative. Their situation will also become dangerous. There is no time to hesitate. Minato's eyes became very firm. This elite team is related to the impact of the entire battle. In the office that day, he didn't tell the other party all the plans. It is not distrust, but only this first step is the most important. The stalemate needs such a team to break. As long as there is a reversal, he will once again send troops to the front line to support. At that time, Cloud Shinobi Village, which cannot catch Bajian, will become frustrated under the front and back flanking. When the time comes, a truce will also become a matter of course. Breaking the deadlock and then negotiating when the two sides have similar bargaining chips, this is Minato's control of the whole situation. And what he just discussed with the third generation next to him was also about reinforcements. This time, he wants to completely free Konoha from the abyss of war. They are good. Quote. With a long sigh, Sarutobi Hiruzen's face also showed a trace of relief. No matter how many times he secretly played a trick on Danzo and chose to release 1,000, but in any case, Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart is in Konoha. The war at the border affected the situation in the entire village, and he was delighted from the heart that such a turning point occurred. This good sentence also changed his impression of the boy who broke into ANBU with a knife. I am old after all. Konoha, in the end, has to rely on young people for protection. With a lot of emotion, Sarutobi sighed again, but as if thinking of something, he raised his head and looked at the water. The reinforcement plan you mentioned earlier has worked. But Minato, you know the consumption of Konoha in the Third Ninja World War. We don't have too many ninjas sent to the front. It's really not him that Sarutobi Hiruzen is telling lies, or trying to hide some vitality. Konoha has really reached this point. Do not. Minato's eyes were firm, and he stood up and looked out the office window. Konoha, there is no shortage of people dedicated to the village. And Master Third Generation ignored the people who were patrolling Konoha all the time. Their clan has extremely strong combat effectiveness. You are right. Sarutobi stood up instantly. The Uchiha clan. Yes, it's the Uchiha clan. Minato was a little weird on his face. Although the Uchiha clan had some losses during the Third Ninja War, the number of casualties in the key war against Kurigakure was very small. Although I don't know why the Uchiha clan was dragged back from the battlefield when they were about to defeat the enemy, but it is certain that their combat effectiveness is very strong, and there are redundant ninjas. The Uchiha clan who came back from the battlefield did not reveal much about the war. Because, the secret of Guanping to Uchiha. Mangekyo blooming on the battlefield. Fugaku's eyes. It was also the emergence of Wanwajane that turned the tide of the battle. No one at Konoha knew about this. But Minato's later words made Sarutobi Hiruzen a little ashamed. Yes, after the battle turned around, the village decided to withdraw the Uchiha clan from the battlefield. The reason given is that Konoha needs Uchiha's patrol to protect and stabilize. But Sarutobi knows exactly why he did this. It's time to avoid the Uchiha clan from making too much credit, Sarutobi. This is what Danzo said. Minato, the words of the Uchiha clan. This sentence that suddenly appeared in my mind caused third generation to open his mouth and want to say something. But before he could finish speaking, Minato interrupted him by shaking his head. Master third generation, I know what you have to say. But from Itachi and Shisui's relationship, I don't think the Uchiha clan is really an evil clan. After a pause, little son had a warm smile on his face. Unlike you, I believe them. I believe them. This sentence has been the dream of the Uchiha clan for so many years. Come on. The door of the office was pushed open, Yamanaka High half kneeled on the ground. Naruto command. Print the merits of the Night Owl team on the Konoha bulletin board, and the Uchiha guards will go to the front line to support the border from now on. Yes, Lord fourth generation. He stood up and was about to leave, but a discordant voice suddenly came from behind Yamanaka Keiichi. The old man disagrees. Sarutobi Hiruzen gave a wry smile when the familiar figure, the money is good, showed up with the other two old buddies. The root leader, Shimura Danzo. Two Naruto consultants, Utatane Kaharu and Mitokado Homura. We also don't agree. Mitokado Homura looked indifferently. The Uchiha clan goes to the border, what about Konoha's guards? That is, if the enemy bypasses the defensive line and attacks, who will guard the village? It's the three of them again. But this time, I am not defenseless. Faced with the problems of the two consultants, Minato looked resolute. If an enemy really appears. Unless I die. Otherwise, no one can cause any damage to Konoha. Any question? First more. Nay gay. It's a bit sudden on the shelves. It was originally decided to tomorrow night, so there are fewer manuscripts saved, but small works. We guarantee all night codewords tonight. Gone. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 65. Finally, there are two decent opponents. Ow. Your perception is too outrageous. Inside the Thunder Country, in a very hidden cave. Kakashi looked at Bajian, who was calmly chewing on the rabbit's legs with surprise on his face. In the beginning, he wreaks havoc on the first stronghold and then left peacefully. He thought it was just a coincidence. But now he is sure. Whenever he was about to encounter an enemy, the man in front of him would always give accurate information. Quantity, strength, even the trajectory of progress. Relying on this unpredictable perception, they have successfully destroyed more than 7 teams that transport supplies. No matter how good a person hides, the breath of the soul cannot be changed. After tearing the rabbit's leg in half and throwing it to the ferret next to him, Bajian said calmly. This is the world of ninjas. All energy comes from chakra and natural energy. And Bajian is Shinigami. Although it is not the Shinigami that appears as a soul in the Shinigami world, it is extremely sensitive to the fluctuations of the soul. In this world, he is the only one. However, in the world of Naruto, it is not that there is no ninjutsu associated with the soul. The ghoul seal is one of them. You can even summon Shinigami from Naruto world. Both are Shinigami, so are I and him together. He picked up the wine gourd and took a sip. Bajian grinned. He really wants to see what Shinigami in Naruto world is like at 427. Is the ability related to the soul? Kakashi smiled wryly and shook his head. He really couldn't understand this stuff. What are you blushing? Suddenly, his gaze swept to the Itachi, who was holding a rabbit leg next to him, who was a little bewildered. Bajian asked suspiciously, Eat, I will fight for a while. I can't eat it yet. Itachi nodded, looking at the rabbit's legs with complicated eyes. He clearly saw Jianzhang biting the rabbit leg just now. Boom. In the moment of war, unless the combat power is the kind of crushing, it is by no means unilateral that will be tested. Actively preparing for the battle in Konoha, the Uchiha clan led the only remaining ANBU ninjas and some small clans. When I went to the battlefield, in the shadow office of Cloud Shinobi village, the sound of the table shattering came from far away. Bye. What did you do? Looking at Killer Bee in front of him, Raikage's rough face was filled with indisputable flames. He handed over the war on the border of the country of fire to his younger brother, and went back to the village to handle the Iwagakure negotiation team. It's only a few days now. The line of defense was torn apart. The people from Konoha infiltrated the land of thunder and wrecked it. At this moment, even the negotiation with Onoki changed. The negotiating team of the land seems to be interested in observing the final outcome of the war, and the originally negotiated conditions have also changed. It became a bubble. Ninja world. 5 great ninja villages, 5 great nations. It is not unique. There is a connection between them, and the change of the situation will also affect the wind direction of the whole world of Shinobi. Big brother, it's not me. Killer Bee shrugged a little helplessly. Who would have expected Konoha to form an elite team to launch a surprise attack in this situation? They didn't just change Hokage. According to their previous understanding of Konoha, he is the one who shrinks the defense at this moment. What should we do? How can we take the initiative to attack? It was completely unexpected. And for that elite team, they have no information at all. Don't make excuses, compare. After the anger, 4th generation Jiang also calmed down. Now is not the time to blame others. Based on the known information, the identities of the two people in the surprise team can be determined. Hitaki Kakashi, the son of Konoha's White Fangya, I heard that he owns Sharingan. Hitaki Kakashi is nothing, but the other one is Uchiha Shisui. Surgery and body flicker technique are more difficult to deal with. Walking up to Bai, 4th Raikage's eyes were murderous. I already know the purpose of their entry into Cloud Shinobi Village, which is to destroy our supplies. Line to reduce the pressure on the frontal battlefield. In this way, a new batch of escort squads will leave for a while, and you will get in. Quote. Get involved in the delivery team and be surprised. Don't underestimate Raikage. From an early age, under the guidance of 3rd generation, he not only likes to use force to solve problems, but also hand. Bai, you are the perfect Jinchuriki. 8 Tails can help you fight illusion. So this time, it's all up to you. Quote. He patted Bai on the shoulder, and Jiang returned to his seat. The old man Onodi is smart. If I go with you, he will definitely think that Cloud Shinobi has fallen into a disadvantage, and the lion opened his mouth during the negotiation. But don't worry, I have arranged a helper for you. Quote. With you two, it's not a problem at all for an elite team, as long as the nail is pulled out. Yi has no more cards, and our counterattack will let those people understand what a real war is. Bai, do you understand? Quote. His eyes were full of hope, and Wang Ying looked at his brother. He was talking here for a long time. In order to wake up his righteous brother. When will Killer Bee be able to be alone? Then he will really relax a lot. No. Unfortunately, Raikage did not wait for the answer he wanted after all. Killer Bee's strange character led him to. There is not much hobby in this area. So, he answered one word honestly, and didn't know how to write the 2 words euphemistically. Get out. Get out. Remember to use transformation technique, don't be seen by others. In the office, the roaring sound spread far and wide. Thunder Country. At the end of a quiet road, several figures fell on the ground. Just after landing, the young man with the knife standing in the middle suddenly frowned and stretched out his hand. What's wrong, Jianzhang? The boy next to him was holding the detonating charm and was planning to bury it. Shaking his head, Bajian stared solemnly. Jinchuriki is usually hailed as the ultimate fighting power of Ninja Village. In the Naruto world, Naruto and Gaara's tragic childhood seems to tell everyone that as human beings. What a painful thing strength is. But there is a Ninja Village different. Not only will their Jinchuriki not be squeezed out by discrimination, they will also be worshipped. That is Cloud Shinobi Village. 10 people in all. 6 Chunin, 2 Jonin, and 2 Jinchuriki. Jinchuriki. At this moment, both Itachi, Kakashi and Shisui are serious. They know exactly what the 3 words Jinchuriki stand for. And besides Jinchuriki, there are 2 Jonin and 6 Chunin. This squad configuration can already be called the elite of the elite. Very tricky enemy. But Bajian seems to have seen some turning points, an absolute turning point for ending the war early. Besides, stroking the beating heart, Bajian's eyes are hot. Finally there are 2 decent opponents. This is a lunatic. Kakashi's mouth twitched and sighed. He really couldn't understand the thinking of a lunatic. The second thing is that there are fewer manuscripts saved, and the young author has all-night code wording. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 66 I Am Not Alone. On the way from Cloud Shinobi Village to the border of the Country of Fire, a small team is advancing step by step. Not fast, but very stable. Jonin in the front carefully observed everything around this very familiar road, and whenever there was any difference, he would stop and throw out his shuriken to try it out. After the other Jonin was in charge of the brake, he would hide under a certain tree within a few minutes and stop moving forward, until he thought it was safe to catch up with the team in front of him. The remaining Chunin are on the 2 wings, guarding the team's advancement. This is an elite team with extremely rich experience. Responsible for transporting supplies for war. Shuriken, kunai, Bingliong pills and detonation talisman. Unexpectedly, the helper mentioned by the eldest brother is you. Suddenly, right in the middle, a young bearded man glanced at the female ninja next to him and said. Otherwise, Uchiha Shisui's illusion, no one but us can deal with. The female ninja flicked her long pale blonde hair, but she made a slightly immature voice that was different from her mature appearance. Uchiha Shisui's illusion. Maybe Hitaki Kakashi in this period has not completely made the name of a copy ninja. But Shisui is different. He was already active in the Third Ninja World War, and Shisui's nickname is not a vain name. The tail beast is afraid of illusion. Jinchuriki is also afraid of illusion. Both have been fulfilled in Nine Tails. Uchiha Madara controlled Nine Tails to turn on Susanoo, and the battle with Senju Hashirama was recorded in history, forming the Valley of End. In the original book, the Nine Tails Chaos and Obito's control of Nine Tails attacking Konoha can also prove this. But, when Jinchuriki evolves into a perfect Jinchuriki, it has great immunity to illusions. That's not Jinchuriki's own immune function, but after communicating with the tail beast can help disrupt the chakra in Jinchuriki's body and achieve the effect of instant relief. Only the truly perfect Jinchuriki knows this. For example, in the battle between Sasuke and Killer Bee, Sasuke also used illusion, but it did not achieve the desired effect. Now, this matter belongs to the confidentiality of Cloud Shinobi Village. Join forces, Konoha will undoubtedly die. The voice was extremely embarrassing rap, causing the female ninja to sigh, and instantly lost the topic of using the power of the tail beast as Jinchuriki to talk to each other. Coming. The team suddenly stopped. The Cloud Shinobi Village Jonin in front of him instantly squeezed 10 shurikens in his hands and prepared to attack. But when everyone looked over and saw the person in front of them clearly, they were stunned. A figure that is not too tall, standing arrogantly in the middle of the road. Not big, but dressed up, but completely different from ordinary ninjas. A big sword that is out of proportion to the height was hit on the shoulder, and the body was simply and clearly worn out in a black robe in a martial arts suit. The mask on the face concealed the face below, and the wine gourd around the waist was even more obtrusive. This person seems to have been waiting for a long time. Who are you? Looking at the figure in front of him vigilantly, the captain of Jonin in Cloud Shinobi Village who led the team on the surface did not relax because of his not tall body. According to the detection of the death location of the attack supply squad, they have mastered a lot of intelligence. First, judging from the footsteps of the scene, there are a total of 4 enemies who have sneaked into the territory of the country of need this time. Second, the dead companions all had fatal stab wounds. With these 2 points alone, the identity of the person in front of him seems to be ready to come out. It's just that he is not sure enough. Because the other party's age is too young. If such people can kill in the country of need, what is the point of this war? 2 Jinchuriki, pretending to be in such a squad. Does Raikage mean to completely eliminate the hidden dangers of the Kingdom of Thunder? But this configuration is worthy of us. Raising the knife in his hand, the infinite fighting spirit is instantly ignited. At this moment, it is clear that a young man is standing here but the whole team is as if being stared at by a wild beast. The feeling of danger is coming. Has your identity been revealed? Wooden Golem and Killer Bee stepped forward with solemn expressions. It's not because seeing Bajian brought them pressure. But at the same time, the tail beast in their body gave a warning. Be careful of the knife in his hand. 8 Tails, the powerful tail beast whose power is second only to 9 Tails. 9 Tails can perceive danger, and 8 Tails can be as good as second tail. And from the tone of the other person's speech and the fighting spirit, they have already come to the answer they want. This boy is a member of Konoha's elite team. But even if the tail beast warned them, Killer Bee and Wooden Golem still feel a little strange. There is only one person on the other side, and it does not rule out the possibility of Joe hiding other team members. But in any case, it always seems a bit too big to be blocked by one person. Together, the transformation technique was instantly lifted, and a tight-fitting Wooden Golem shook his pale golden ponytail and nodded to Killer Bee. Raikage's order is to kill. In a real battle, a ninja who has experienced many battles will never underestimate the enemy because of the appearance of the enemy. Because the person who underestimated the enemy is dead. In an instant, the 2 core combat powers rushed directly to Bajian. In the process of running, Killer Bee already took out all the 7 or 8 knives he carried with him. The wild heron cuts the knife. With the various parts of the body and physical skills, the flexible use of 10 knives and its unpredictable and fast knives make people unpredictable and unable to see clearly. This is a powerful sword technique that only Killer Bee can handle. Wooden Golem was more cautious. The whole body had begun to beastily transformed into a half-tailed animal. When she arrived in front of Bajian, a light blue cat had already exposed its sharp claws. Do you use your full strength when you come up? Shaking his neck, Bajian took a deep breath and saw Killer Bee's moving trajectory. He swung a knife ahead of time. The dark crescent with raging terror, Reiatsu sprinted forward and smashed at Killer Bee fiercely. What is this stuff? Killer Bee was obviously taken aback, some of which didn't understand. Don't resist. The 8 tails in the body reacted instantly, and it could clearly perceive the palpitating power above. It's going to die. The action is not over yet. The black crescent that slashed Killer Bee hadn't hit the past. Bajian's Zanpakuto waved again, slashing on the running cat's claws. Kang. Jinti Jiaoming's voice is particularly harsh. From the Wooden Golem, he was lifted from the half-tailed animalization and flew out in just an instant. It's fast, but you seem to have forgotten that I am not alone. The black crescent passed by. Killer Bee had just stood still, only to see Bajian pointing his knife right behind him. Look back. Countless entity clones have completely wrapped the companions behind them. Next moment. Blood splattered. Shisui's instantaneous body, when it is about to ultimate, all phantom clones will be entities. Thunder light shines in the air. Like the lightning that can cut thunder and lightning, flashed away, accompanied by a huge fireball exploding in place. In just an instant, all 6 Chunin were killed. The tacit understanding of the Night Owl team is shocking. Third more. The young author sings all night, but it is recommended that the readers do not stay up late, and rest early, tomorrow. Just watch it again. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 67 The King of Flat Cutting, the characteristic of cutting people too. Bajian carelessly underestimate the enemy. One person faced 2 Jinchuriki. Not really. Before setting off, he already had a full understanding of his own strength. At that time, he already had nearly 15% of the Zaraki Kenpachi templates, and the virtual white template that was about to unlock the second flat cutting feature for himself. 2 templates, physical fitness like a beast. Coupled with the chakra blade, this is part of its own strength. With the power of evil spirits exploding, what about perfect Jinchuriki? What's more, the only true perfect Jinchuriki is Killer Bee. Although the 2 wooden golem also has the potential to have the perfect Jinchuriki, she is still young and has not reached the perfect fusion in the later stage, so in the end, her strength is still a bit weak. Just looking at the power she had just shown by turning into a half-tailed animal, Bajian analyzed that her state would not last long. Judging from her appearance, she should have just graduated from the ninja school only a few years ago. So the real threat is only one of the 8,740s. And those miscellaneous fish, hand over to Shisui, Kakashi and Itachi. When they dealt with those people and cooperated with them to fully attack 8 Tails, the fatness of the battle came. However, where is the risk of battle, Bajian also knows very well. That is, before Shisui and Kakashi solve the miscellaneous fish, he has to face the 2 Jinchuriki alone. If they fail, the situation will instantly reverse. Can you resist pressure? Under the mask, the boy's pupils gradually shrank, and his instinctive fighting spirit drove him to take the initiative to cut the soul. By wooden golem, are you all right? Uncertainly glanced at the woods that had been attacked by the Black Crescent slash, Killer Bee said to wooden golem, who had climbed up from the ground and recovered from the half-tailed animalized state. Where the Black Crescent has passed, it has become a bare piece. That terrifying slash made him never careless. Although the physical fitness of human beings in the ninja world is strong, a single shuriken is deadly. If this kind of slash is really hit, it will indeed die. It's not a big problem. Standing up hard, wooden golem gritted his teeth and nodded. Careless. But she has been careful enough. What I didn't expect was that the 2 sharp claws of his half-tailed beast were so vulnerable in front of the opponent's knife. He glanced at his left hand. There, her specially reserved nails have been trimmed. Just help me attack. Killer Bee nodded and took a step forward, the 7 knives shone coldly. He also uses a knife. In Cloud Shinobi Village, he has not yet served anyone in terms of swordsmanship. Whoosh. Ding. The figure disappeared. The next moment, Killer Bee completely demonstrated the real killing skills of Killer Bee. From top to bottom are weapons, countless knives without rotating an angle will inadvertently slash the opponent's throat. He is a veritable Killer Bee. Wooden golem next to him sighed and seemed a little lost. When the masters are in a duel, if she attacks rashly, it will only bring a burden to her companions. Looking at the young man fighting Killer Bee, there is still an unreal illusion in wooden golem's heart. How old is he? There was still a childish voice under the mask, she could hear it clearly. The most important thing is. Master Rakage said yes, the most important thing to watch out for during this trip is the famous instantaneous Shisui. Why is the script different? Up to now, the young man in front of him has become the strongest combat power of the Konaha elite team. This unexpected change makes it hard for her to accept. At the same time, an explosion came. The girl turned her head and saw a scene that made her angry. On the field, the 6 Chunin had already lost their lives with the tacit cooperation of the Yishao squad, and the 2 Jonin had also fallen into a bitter battle. In just a moment of fighting, they have fallen into an absolute disadvantage. Instantly Shisui, not only the body flicker technique is superb. The understanding and use of illusion is the most terrifying. Just one look can make the opponent's body appear stalemate, and then grab the opponent 1 second before falling into the illusion to cause an attack. Even if Jonin is experienced, the time to dispel the illusion is extremely fast and he will inevitably be injured. What's more, there is Hitaki Kakashi holding lightning. Go help them first. The wooden golem gritted his teeth and rushed into the rear battlefield. In her cognition, only she can fight Shisui. In fact, she didn't know that this feeling was her greatest illusion. If you talk about illusion in the ninja world, no one can match the Uchiha clan. Especially the Uchiha people who started Mangekyo Sharingan. Itachi's Tsukuyomi, Shisui's distinguished heavenly gods, that is the most vivid art of illusion. Once Konoha's ancient family Pommel Horse clan was a short-lived phenomenon, the 5 senses of manipulation are indeed very strong, but after all, it is not as convenient as other people's eyes to release. Ding ding ding. The Killer Bee's attack continued. Bajian hit the knife and responded with an ordinary flat slash in an elegant figure. The flamboyant moves, after all, are not as happy as the one slashing down the mountain and breaking the ground. 7974. 7975. 7976. ... And every time Bajian successfully resists the Killer Bee's attack, Bajian will spit out a number 0. However, Killer Bee does not understand the meaning of this number. Ding ding. Swing the knife and continue. 7989. 7990. When this number soared to 7990, Bajian's eyes sparkled with excitement. This is the number of swings today. Yes, even if it is a high-intensity mission like going deep behind enemy lines, he still hasn't forgotten his daily mission. However, when we combine knife wielding with killing and slashing people, there is no such thing as only. There are still 10 boring feelings of swinging a knife. Lifting Zanpakuto high, the boy's body suddenly began to tremble. Speaking of it, this is the first time I have been fighting in a passive way. This feeling is a bit unpleasant. Roar. With a roar that didn't look like a human being suddenly came out, Bajian's original gesture of holding a knife in one hand was stunned. Changed. Do you know? Knife, holding and waving with both hands is stronger than holding and waving with one hand. Huh. Lifting Zanpakuto high, the next moment Zanpakuto who instinctively waved sends out a fierce golden light. Killer Bee sword pressure. Flat cut special effects from Zaraki Kenpachi template. But just waving it once does not satisfy the swollen heart. The second cut will follow. This time, the dark crescent moon followed. Bajian flow upright. 10 consecutive cuts. Whoosh whoosh. The body kept dancing, when 5 golden swords pressed and 5 dark moon 3.7 teeth rushed towards Kira. At the time of comparison, the latter was already confused. Don't froze, let me come. Roar. With a roar, Eight Tails' huge body instantly wrapped itself. 10 Dao Mangs began to bombard unscrupulously. But Bajian didn't have the idea of enjoying this kind of picture. A familiar system prompt sounded in his ear. Ding. Congratulations, Master Host's daily mission, Never Stop, was achieved with 8,000 swings of the knife. Congratulations to Master Host, the progress of all templates has increased by 0.2%. Ding. Congratulations to Host Master Zaraki Kenpachi, the first king of flat slashing template. The unlocking progress reached 100%. 15. Ding. Congratulations to Host, the second level of the king of slashing template, the virtual white unlocking progress reached 5%. Ding. The virtual white template is unlocked by 5% in order to activate the flat cutting feature. Draw now. Fourth more. Fingers are a bit hard, stay up late ing. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 68 Cut the Tailed Beast Bomb, capture the second tail alive. The second leveling feature of the King of Leveling has finally arrived. Bajian took a deep breath, too late to appreciate the crazy twitching 8 tails that was smashed in front of him by Shillian. His attention is all on flat cutting special parts. Slowly nodded and spit out 2 words. Draw. The flat cutting feature is the most intuitive embodiment of Bajian's strength improvement in addition to the flat cutting king template. His first feature, Chakra Blade, looks very tasteless, but the actual effect is extremely obvious. So far, his ability to fight against ninjutsu with a knife is enough to prove how practical the effect of Chakra Blade is, not to mention that as Bajian's chakra volume continues to increase, this effect will become more obvious. It is not an exaggeration to say that as long as he is given time, he will stab him in the future, and the effect can be imagined. Ding. Congratulations to Master Host for obtaining the King of Flat Slashers Slasher Special 2, Soul Eater. Soul Eater. Bajian's eyes brightened when he heard the name, and he looked over quickly. Soul Eater. Shinigami's knife takes away not only blood, but in addition to harvesting souls, even O4 can drive the dead souls under the knife to inflict heavy damage on the enemy. Special effect. When fighting an enemy, every physical attack with a sword will weaken the opponent's soul power, thereby enhancing its own reiatsu. Each successful hit will leave the soul of the opponent under the sword to absorb the soul power. If you attack if no effective damage is caused, the dead souls under the sword will wrap around the opponent, causing various negative effects. This feature is a rare feature with extremely high growth. The soul harvesting effect is increased by the strength of its own reiatsu, and the effect of the dead souls under the knife is increased according to the increase in the number of dead souls killed by the host. The third feature of the King of Flat Cut will be activated again when the third template is unlocked at 5%. Host, please continue to work hard and become the real King of Flat Cutting. Soul Eater. Rare characteristics with strong growth. But whether it is the harvest of the soul or the dead soul under the knife, it is too strong. Reap the soul, absorb the power of the soul from the opponent. The soul under the sword is easy to understand, the more people killed, the stronger he is. What if it was Jinchuriki? Where's the tail beast? With murderous intent in his eyes, Bajian walked towards the twitching 8 tails step by step. At this moment, he has completely turned his tail into a beast, with 8 tails firmly protecting his body, and red blood is flowing to the ground. 10 consecutive cuts. It's not a move. Because of these 10 attacks, without any exception, they were all flat cuts, only the swing speed was several times faster. In addition, 10 consecutive high-intensity swings will also greatly consume Bajian's physical energy. But the effect looks very good. Raising the knife, step by step towards the curled-up 8 tails. But when he was about to approach, a blue figure rushed over instantly. The second half-tail beastization started, and Wooden Golem is suffering great pain. But Killer Bee is about to be attacked, and she has to give up the 2 Jonin who were crushed by Shisui and Kakashi behind her. In the half-tailed animal, a dark sphere is slowly forming in front of the mouth of her transformed blue cat. Mini-tailed beast bomb. Unlike the real full-body-tailed beast bomb, she is still a bit difficult to control at this moment. Boom. Like a missile launch, the tail beast instantly slammed into Yi Bajian. I like a girl who plays ball, and I also like to play ball, but this thing is fine. Because your ball will be hot. After all, I'm not old enough to play with it. The incomplete tailed beast bomb released in the form of a half-tailed beast can chop off even the Loquat Juzo, who has a decapitating knife in the original book. Yi Bajian doesn't think he can't do it. The decapitation knife is very fragile, it will be blown off by the tailed beast bomb and then eat away the owner's blood. But his knife, not. The light of the knife flashed, and the chakra sphere based on the 2 attributes of yin and yang split instantly into 2. And the separated spheres didn't know whether Bajian intentionally or unintentionally, half of them hit the 8 tails next to him. Boom. Boom. With 2 loud noises, Wooden Golem was completely stunned by the half-tailed animal. Tailed beast bomb can be hacked. This knife has completely refreshed her worldview. Be honest, little cat. The explosion next to him did not cause the teenager's psychological fluctuations. A flash, he had already pinched Wooden Golem's neck. At this moment, as if being stared at by a real evil spirit, countless dead souls around were roaring in their ears. Originally some Wooden Golem, who could not bear the reaction of forced tail beastization, completely fainted. Rolling the girl's eyelids in surprise, Bajian shook his head. After all, Wooden Golem at this time is just a bud to be released, and has not grown into a heroine of Cloud Shinobi Village. Almost means it should be. It's Killer Bee. Squinting his eyes, he struck up the 8 tails body from the Wooden Golem, which was still curled up. But Bajian just approached, and the huge body of 8 tails disappeared without a trace with a bang. On the ground, there was only one broken octopus tail. Is the usual way of escape. After cutting the octopus tail in 2 with a knife, Bajian sighed. After all, he underestimated the fighting power of 8 tails. He really won this battle. But this kind of victory has the prerequisites. First, it's the first time Killer Bee has fought with himself, and he doesn't know anything about him. Second, if the opponent had completely tailed the beast from the beginning and directly started the tailed beast bomb bombing, then he would never win so easily. Of course, the final result, Bajian, does not feel that it will change. Did Killer Bee show his full strength? Bajian doesn't know, but he didn't use his full strength. It's not even the Bajian tricks of smashing the crescent moon into the sky. Looking into the distance 073, the members of the Yi Xiao team were already there waiting for him. The battle is over. The cooperation of Shisui and the copy of Ninja Kakashi, coupled with Itachi's from time to time harassment, even the 2 battle-tested Jonin are not rivals, they have already fallen in a pool of blood. As this Neo Jinchuriki, Itachi came over and looked at the girl who was beaten by Bajian with some confusion. Jinchuriki, the second living Jinchuriki besides Uzumaki Kushina. Owl, what are you going to do? Kakashi's chest was fluctuating, walking to Bajian's side and asking. Back to Konoha. The war is over. Standing on tiptoe by Wooden Golem, Bajian smiled slightly. Although I didn't put 2 Jinchuriki in one pot, 1 2 tails are enough. At the moment he caught the Wooden Golem, there was no need to fight the war. Cloud Shinobi Village understands how much weight a perfect Jinchuriki has. The loss of the second tail, in addition to a great blow to the Battle of Cloud Shinobi Village, also has an impact on morale. Even if the war is not over, the existence of Wooden Golem will give Namikaze Minato enough confidence to negotiate. Walk home. 5th more. Can't help it, wake up during the day and continue to erupt. Thank you for your automatic subscription. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 69 Guy spins the hero, they are back. To be honest, I didn't expect it to be you this time. On the border between the country of fire and the country of thunder, Hyuga Hazashi felt a little bit as he looked at the mighty reinforcements in front of him. The Uchiha clan. Never thought that the reinforcements turned out to be them. As the Konoha pupil family, the Uchiha family has always been a special case of the village. Although the combat effectiveness is good, since Uchiha Madara left, he has not been completely trusted. Both the second Hokage Senju Tobarama and the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen have maintained a vigilant attitude towards the Uchiha. Konoha can see this to anyone who has some ideas. It also caused the Uchiha clan to be somewhat autistic, and there is no fundamental reason why the big clan is willing to associate. They all understood the reason why the fire at the gate of the city caused Chiyu. But the current Hokage seems to intend to change this situation. On the battlefield, we are all Konoha's ninjas. Fugaku shook his head. He didn't know whether Minato's existence could really change Konoha's relationship with Uchiha, but he saw the minimum trust from Hokage. This is a good start. So he came, as a Konoha shinobi. Maybe Konoha has a repulsive darkness. But whenever the village is in desperate situation, someone will always come forward. Compared with combat power and strength, this spirit of daring to sacrifice is the key factor for Konoha to become the number one ninja village. Yes, we are all Konoha's ninjas. Stretching out his hand, at this moment, the patriarch of Hyuga Branch House and the patriarch of the Uchiha clan held hands together. This kind of scene is rare. It is difficult for the two competing races to let go of grievances. Belief is not only two ordinary words, but also requires the joint efforts of both parties. Minato's plan Hyuga Hazashi already knows. Undoubtedly, the Yishao squad that went deep behind enemy lines was indispensable. Now that there are reinforcements from the Uchiha clan on the border, he can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Patriarch Hazashi, is there any news about the Night Owl team? After a brief meeting, the two came to the combat command room. Fugaku's eyes were a little worried, and he asked what he wanted to ask a long time ago. Yishao squad. Hyuga Hazashi sighed, they are all Konoha's heroes. Above, the ninja in front of the Cloud Shinobi village loses its combat power 6 times. According to known information, these days they have at least destroyed the Cloud Shinobi village. In a few days, I'm afraid those guys won't be able to eat the ration pills. In addition, they even attacked the guard strongholds of Cloud Shinobi village planted in the Land of Thunder, leaving Cloud Shinobi village devastated and not focusing on the frontal battlefield. Well-deserved heroes, those kids. With admiration on her face, Hyuga Hazashi doesn't even praise her. A small team completely changed the battle situation at the border. They are heroes. Do you know where they are in the Land of Thunder now? The team's contribution is obvious to all, but Fugaku is no longer so important to those things. His son, a 6-year-old son. Right in the team. That was Itachi's own choice. Before leaving, he had asked Itachi if he really had the determination to go deep behind the enemy line. If he doesn't have the courage, he will stop his son's behavior without hesitation. But Itachi's firm answer made him dispel the idea. Believing in his own child is the only thing he can do now as a father. Sorry, no one knows where they are. They are still safe. That's right, but this is a good thing, because Cloud Shinobi village is also looking for them. There is no such information to explain him. Hyuga Hazashi glanced at the map and shook his head. They did a good job of hiding their whereabouts. Master Hazashi, Master Fugaku. And while the two were talking, a ninja instructed to break into the command room. Judging from the excitement on his face, it seemed that something great had happened. They are back. Huh. In an instant, 2 figures rushed out of the command room. Entrance to Konoha camp. Traces of the war can still be seen everywhere, but the sense of depression that had just arrived at the border has disappeared. Instead, the hopeful gazes of the ninjas. The pattern has completely changed. When the 4 figures appeared in the camp, the eyes of countless ninjas gathered. Looking at the blood that hasn't dried up on them, for these 4 people, they only have admiration. The only unexpected thing is that from time to time there will be a few angry meows in the sack being beaten by a person in the middle. I always feel a little unreal. Shisui was so naive, and smirked as he looked at everything in front of him. When he raised the butcher knife and brought the fear of instantaneous Shisui to Cloud Shinobi village, his heart was rejection. At the moment of return, the gaze around him made him extremely enjoy. Different from being at the root, making contributions to the village silently. He now truly feels the joy of guarding the land under his feet. Itachi was just about to say something, but the figure rushing from a distance suddenly stunned Itachi. That is, your father came back. Hyuga Hazashi looked excited, looked at the 4 figures, and then bowed deeply in front of everyone. They can afford. When the Night Owl team left, he didn't expect that these children could really complete such a difficult task, but they used practical actions to tell everyone that they did it, and they did it very well, and they did it almost perfectly. What are you doing in a daze? He patted the Itachi next to him, and Bajian said with a strange expression. Shouldn't you get excited when you see your dad? Appearing to be encouraged, Itachi nodded and stood up, kneeling in front of Fugaku amidst Hyuga Hazashi's startled gaze. Father. This is Li Jiaohao, Fugaku Patriarch's son, Uchiha Itachi. Opening his mouth wide, Hyuga Hazashi awed in awe. It takes so much courage to send my son to such a dangerous position. Well done. Pulling Itachi from the ground, Uchiha Fugaku, who has always been stern, didn't make much praise, but the gratification in his eyes and the rough and big hands that wrapped his palms made him appreciate the care of his father. Meow. The angry meow made a few people come back to their senses. This is. Upon taking a glance, Hyuga Hazashi looked at the sound of sack on Bajian's shoulder suspiciously. Caught a cat is also the reason to come back early. Bajian lifted the sack up and grinned. Go in and talk, Uncle Fugaku, this time you may have to go for nothing. Because. They caught the second tail Jinchuriki. 6th more. Wake up a bit late, code word ing. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 70 Desperate Girl, Submissive Cat. Advanced Mission, Real Shinigami. Soul Harvesting Completion Progress. 468 3000ths. After returning to the camp and briefly talking about the situation with Hyuga Hazashi and Uchiha Fugaku, Bajian lay in the lounge and took a look at his advanced mission. He has not been on the battlefield for long or short, but it is still difficult to kill 3,000 people so quickly. After all, in the territory of Thunder Country, the teammates next to him, the AB combination that may be dispatched at any time, there are many restrictions. But with such progress, Bajian is already very satisfied. There is no time limit for this task, so there is no rush. The battle with Killer Bee gave Bajian an intuitive understanding of his own strength. In this ninja world, no one has made effective resistance to the means he can attack the soul for the time being. Two characteristics have been activated, this unexpected slash will have a miraculous effect. But it's far from the real doing whatever you want. He didn't think he was invincible just because he defeated Killer Bee. Sitting up from the bed, Bajian tilted his head and looked at the girl who was kneeling on the ground next to him. She is called our new wooden golem, and her current nickname is Kitty. It was also the biggest gain of Bajian coming to Thunder Country this time. Compared with the continuous destruction of the supply line in Thunderland 320 to attract attention, the weight of the two-tailed Jinchuriki is not known to be much higher. Or, get a cat. The idea seems to be good. Pay attention to your eyes, little cat. Jumping off the board, Bajian walked to Wooden Golem and pinched the opponent's chin. Exquisite facial features, standard face with melon seeds. And, the special fragrance that girls only have. It's just that the look in the other person's eyes at this moment is the kind of hatred that cannot be shared by the sky and the desperation who wants to resist but dare not. This is a real world. What is covered under the blood is often unbearable cruelty. Female ninja, once fell into the hands of the enemy, the result is not so good. Staring angrily at Bajian's face, Wooden Golem trembled. She dared not resist. Can't commit suicide. Because the demon in front of me said it. As long as her behavior causes Bajian's dissatisfaction, he will one day kill Cloud Shinobi Village, cut off everyone's heads, and let her watch the scene with his own eyes. Whether it is suicide or resistance. Those are all acts that cause dissatisfaction with the other party. Niu was already scared of being beaten. It told Wooden Golem that it is best to do what the other party said, otherwise AEAC and the self in her body would also die. Is real death. The two tails were completely frightened, and there was telepathy between the tail beasts. Before 8 tails escaped, the 2 tails could clearly feel the other party's weakness. Weakness from the source and origin. If you want to recover, don't even think about it for 3 to 5 years. Therefore, even Jinchuriki didn't dare to resist the boy in front of him. This is a demon that can slash the tailed beast bomb. He said that if you cut off the heads of everyone in Cloud Shinobi Village, you will surely do it. As a Cloud Shinobi Village ninja, she believes in the power of the shadow, and she does not believe that this boy can defeat Thunder. But the strong combat power the opponent showed at this age has already demonstrated his potential. Give him time, he will definitely be able to do it. Bar. The so-called, she can only kneel and sit here like a real kitten, being pinched by her chin. I'm sleepy. Unlocking Wooden Golem's chin, the teenager rested his head on Wooden Golem's slender legs as if he were in his own home in Konaha village, as if he had found the comfortable feeling in Anko's arms. Not long after, a faint snoring sound came slowly. Is he really asleep? In an instant, a trace of murderous aura flashed through Wooden Golem's eyes, and the light blue sharp claws slowly approached the opponent's face. But at the moment when it was really about to start, Wooden Golem had no courage to continue after all. Looked weakly at the head of the bed. The young man's knife radiated a faint cold light beside it, but Wooden Golem could clearly see that the knife was clearly farther away from him. Is he really asleep? Putting down her hand feebly, the girl's tears slowly fell. Cloud Shinobi Village, China and Japan are surrounded by clouds and fog, and sometimes thunder falls from the sky. People in the village are accustomed to this phenomenon. If it is usual, I will stop to listen to the shock brought by the thunder and lightning. But today, they did not have that interest. Lord Killer Bee is back from a serious injury. The two are dead by Wooden Golem. This news made them feel extremely heavy. Even the negotiations between Cloud Shinobi Village and Iwagakure have ended early. Onoki, who heard the news, left without even calling anyone. There is no need to explain this attitude. Cloud Shinobi Hospital. The vague need for electricity on the rugged wreckage flashed away. On the hospital bed, the weak Killer Bee was still asleep. The 2 Jinchuriki were dispatched, but it turned out to be almost annihilated. This news is enough to shake Cloud Shinobi Village. Wreckage didn't expect it at all, it turned out to be this kind of result in the end. The one lying on the hospital bed in front of him is his righteous brother, an indispensable part of the AB combination. There are still undecided by Wooden Golem. This blow is too big. Holding his head tightly, I can't wait to rush to the front and start a decisive battle with Konaha now. But he can't do that. In addition to the news from the border that Konaha has added reinforcements again, there is also Ono Kili. Attitude when opening. Iwagakure would never look stupidly if he attacked in an all-round way. Move the whole body by pulling a hair. At that time, I am afraid that the Third Ninja World War will continue. There was a faint gasp, and Raikage rushed to the bedside. Bye, how do you feel? Raikage, with a solemn look, is eager to know the news about Wooden Golem. But again, he worried about the body of his righteous brother. The doctor has already said that the injury is not heavier than the body, but the extremely weak appearance is the original. Because I don't know where it came from. No faults can be seen, and no potential hidden dangers can be detected. But it is extremely weak. Big brother, I'm so imaginary. Killer Bee yelled weakly. Imaginary. Is the kidney problem? Raikage looked at Killer Bee's waist. It's not this imaginary. Take off the sunglasses. Killer Bee's deep dark circles seem to be telling something. What happened? Taking a deep breath, Raikage grabbed Killer Bee's hand. There is a problem with his knife. I don't care about rap anymore, Killer Bee said laboriously. Who? Uchiha Shisui. Didn't he rely on illusion and body flicker technique? Raikage asked again. No, brother. From start to finish, Uchiha Shisui is not the most threatening of them. It's that kid. Killer Bee sighed. What kind of kid? What kind of knife? What kind of moves? Please make it clear. Raikage's eyes widened. The opponent's main combat power turned out to be a kid. It's that kind of kid. There is only one trick from start to finish. Which trick? Ping cut. First more. Code ing. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 71 The Blood on the Head of Konoha Village. The return journey is smooth. Bajian didn't have much emotion. As always, he kept waving his knife forward. There was a little more smile on Itachi's face, and he walked slowly behind Bajian. Kakashi is still the same, coming out of the fighting state, and becoming lazy again. However, it is completely different from the original book, the confused squatting in the corner of Yondame's house, watching the warm appearance of the master and the master, but his heart is completely cold. More sunshine, less loneliness. Obito and Lin have become a thing of the past, he would rather hide the grief in his heart. The current Minato class gave him another warm feeling. However, the team returning to the village had a few more people. Uchiha Fugaku hurried to the battlefield and returned hurriedly, so there is no need for Uchiha Fugaku to feel embarrassed. Now that the chips in the hand are heavy enough, the so-called pressure at the border is given, so the Uchiha clan is on the front line. It is meaningless. But seeing the growth of his son is the greatest satisfaction of being a father. Makoto is about to give birth, and he doesn't want to stay on the battlefield for too long. In addition to him, he was accompanied by Hyuga Hazashi, who was relieved of his position as a commander. He had not seen his son Hyuga Neji for a long time, and he was very homesick. Just leave things at the border to other people, and Cloud Shinobi will not launch an attack in a short time unless they completely abandon the second tail. That is unrealistic, so the war must come to an end. Wooden Golem followed Bajian like a walking corpse. Every step she took, the farther she was from her home. But what really cares about Bajian is Shisui, who is silent along the way. That kind of confusion reappeared on him. The closer Konoha is, the more silent he is. The reason is easy to understand. When this boy came out, he was burdened with the task of snatching weapons from his partner. The mission failed. For the ninja, the mission failed as a shame. He didn't even report the situation to the village the first time, but chose to follow the Night Owl team. This is the first time I have done this kind of defying orders. How to face Danzo, the leader of the Roots, how to explain that Bajian did not start. He didn't know at all. The more he thought about it, the more confused he would make him lose sight of the way forward. When facing the question of Lord Danzo, how should he answer? For the sake of the village, do you really have to deal with your companions? You and Itachi always think too much. A voice reached Shisui's ears. Bajian's knife had been hit on the shoulder again, and he said something that he had repeated a long time ago. Shisui gave a wry smile. He couldn't help thinking about this kind of thing. Shaking his head, Bajian didn't bother to talk too much. Regarding Shisui's matter, he has already figured out how to deal with it. Go all the way. As he approached Konoha, Bajian's eyes were surprised. The familiar figure ahead was waiting with the villagers. Namikaze Minato, Konoha's fourth Hokage. He had already received the news, just standing at the entrance of the village like welcoming his relatives. Thanks, welcome home. It's impossible to open your hands and hug 4 children at the same time, but he still does. As Hokage, I should be aloof, but it makes people feel very kind. Welcome home. Suddenly Bajian had an illusion that the emotion that he had never felt in his heart suddenly burst out. It seems that no one has said this to myself except Anko. Is Konoha my home? I guess so. Maybe he has never really disliked Konoha, but just disliked some stubborn trash in Konoha village. Family. Bajian raised his brow a little amused. Perhaps in the original book, Naruto needs this sentence most. This Hokage is a little different. A certain girl in the team glanced at Minato, not knowing why. Personally greet the ninja who returned to the village on a mission. This situation seems to have never been seen in Cloud Shinobi village. Yi Bajian. However, whenever this kind of complex emotions for Konoha surfaced in his heart, there would always be discordant people. It seems that I can't wait, or my ambition is slowly spurring cattle. Several figures also appeared at the entrance of the village. The root leader Shimura Danzo. There are also 2 Naruto consultants, Mitokado Homura and Uchiha Kaharu. Well, and the helpless third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. It's hard to imagine, since when did they stay here? Perhaps only at this time, they will be so concerned. Minato standing next to him was a little embarrassed. The appearance of these people was completely unexpected to him. As a teacher, I came out to welcome the returning disciples and gave them the treatment and warmth they deserve. Why do you want to join in the fun? Yi Bajian. Saping didn't get Bajian's response. Shimura Danzo frowned, his pitch a little higher. Looking at this young man, his eyes were full of gloom. In theory, this is their first official meeting. Just let it out if you have a fart. Kang. Zanpakuto plunged into the ground, and there was a rubbing sound that made the scalp numb. The boy leaned on the knife and turned his head, but when you put it, please pay attention to the direction. Don't smoke me. Puff. For a moment, the tense atmosphere seemed to be broken, and even the little cat behind Bajian couldn't help laughing. It's really an unusual way of greeting. It can be seen from this way that the village is far less harmonious than it seems. Yi Bajian, pay attention to your words. Uchiha Kaharu pointed out his hand sharply and said angrily, do you think that a small amount of credit can be made on the border to wash away the things you used to make ANBU? At best, it is now a feat. Huh. A ray of cold light flashed. Red blood spilled into the sky, and in just an instant Uchiha Kaharu's extended hand fell to the ground. I said, please take care of your mouth, and don't aim at me when you flexed. Playing Zanpakuto, the boy's face is full of gentleness, and there is no sense of tension after hacking someone. He did it directly. He didn't hesitate at all, and didn't care about the identity of the other party. Naruto consultant. What it is. Put. When I was young, I was a companion of the second Hokage's guard. Was he cut off his arm and went to the face? For the first time, Mitokado Homura wanted to ask questions. Before finishing the word presumptuous, he looked at the former boy's eyes. At this moment, he panicked. He is certain that if he finishes saying this sentence, he will die. Bajian. Minato gave a wry smile. Everything just came so fast that it happened without even reacting to it. Only, why does my heart feel happy? As expected to be my disciple. Just do it without hesitation. This temper is still the taste of the year. 8th more. Continue code word in where G. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 72. I will only give this face once. No one expected the conflict that broke out suddenly. The companions around Bajian looked a little nervous. Fugaku has a complicated expression. He should be happy to see this scene. From Uchiha's point of view, Baijing saw someone confronting the top level. This is something we love to see. But after so many things, his thinking has changed. It seems that he really doesn't want to see this boy having an accident. That is Itachi's friend. True friend. Shisui stood there blankly, and shot at the Naruto consultant. He had never thought of such a thing. Sarutobi, did you see it? Uchiha Kaharu had fallen into a coma because of the severe pain, and Mitokado Homura, who was next to him, had a pale face. He didn't dare to be arrogant to Bajian. He turned his gaze to Sarutobi Hiruzen next to him, hoping that he would say something. What do you want me to say? Sarutobi Hiruzen gave a wry smile. If you just look at the result of August 4-3, Yi Bajian did too much. But everything in the world has a reason. The ninja, who had been working hard on the battlefield, was blocked at the entrance of the village just after returning to the village to preach, saying that he was a man of sin. If you are yourself, you will feel uncomfortable, right? What's more, this young man never hides his anger. Bajian, you did a little too much. Although Kaharu has something wrong, she is Konoha's Hokage consultant. As a ninja of Konoha, you must be humble when you treat the predecessors who contributed to Konoha. Sometimes this kind of scene really requires a good old person to appear, tell your mistakes from the perspective of the elders, and let you know who you are. Now this good old man is Sarutobi. But before he could finish speaking, the young man suddenly stretched out his hand to stop him. I won't talk about anything else. She mentioned that I was guilty and meritorious, and I am not at peace. You just said, she has done a lot for Konoha. Bajian's eyes widened, as if he had heard something appalling. This is more outrageous than the third Hokage written in Konoha's textbook as Konoha's strongest Hokage. Is there a problem? Sarutobi Hiruzen lit up the cigarette in confusion and asked. Konoha Hokage consultant has been working hard for the village for so many years. Isn't it right for him to say that? Forget it, you probably don't understand even if you say it. Seeing what Sarutobi took for granted, Bajian suddenly lost the idea of burying him. Just like you can never wake up a person who pretends to sleep, dogs may not understand human words. A person like her can't even compare to any ninja who died on the border. Then you can taste it slowly, third Hokage. Shaking his head, Bajian didn't want to stand here anymore. The idea that Konoha could become home, which he thought at the beginning, has disappeared in an instant. Home is where Anko, Itachi, and my friends are located. Konaha has never been. Picking up the knife, Bajian was about to enter the village, but as soon as he took his steps, a masked ninja appeared behind Danzo and also blocked Bajian's path. It was a great scene. The two members of the team, Wooden Golem, even wanted to slap a few slaps. She doesn't know what others think. Anyway, she is very comfortable now. This seemingly peaceful village has so many discordant places in the interior. Naruto welcomes the ninja who has returned from a trip, which is very kind. But the other faction seems to have great opinions on the young people who made the credit. She watched this scene very enjoyable. Stop, Yi Bajian. Hand over the second tail, that belongs to the village. But in the next second, the old man who looked very annoying suddenly said something, let Wooden Golem. Creeps up. Is this the reason they are here? Roll. With a roar of thunder, the atmosphere at the Konoha village's mouth instantly became cold. The sword raised high has been aimed at Shimura Danzo. Maybe Bajian thought of the purpose of these people here. Yes, the news that he had seized the second tail had been sent back to the village from the front line. Some people value the power of Jinchuriki and want to take it for themselves. This is normal. Nine Tails Jinchuriki can't get it, so they can move the target to Niu. This is in line with Danzo's character. But he overlooked one point. What's mine is mine. I want to give it to you, it's you. I won't give it, you can't grab it. The big knife was swung out in an instant, and the door of Konoha village was cut in half by the sharp knife. It's like you sent a ninja at the route to chase me, wanting my sword. My cat is mine, no one can move it. Turning his head, Bajian looked at Namikaze Minato who was waiting for him in the first place. Ms. Minato, you came to meet me at the entrance of the village to give me face. And these few of them are still alive, it's me who gave birth to you. I will only give this face once. As soon as the booming voice fell, Danzo was shocked to find that the two guards behind him instantly exploded into two groups. Blood fog. When? Next time, it's your head 0 inches. Walking by Danzo's side, Bajian's voice seems to come from hell. Face, he will only give it once. He has no interest in seeing what Minato will do next. It hasn't been a long time to see Anko, he just wants to get a good night's sleep on his sister's lap. Konoha all kinds, what does it matter to him? As he said when he left Konoha, he went to the front line to perform the mission for Minato alone. He helped with this, and he helped well enough. When the Night Owl team entered Konoha, the atmosphere at the entrance of the village finally eased, but the traces of the blood fog explosion were still there, and Uchiha Kaharu's arms on the ground looked hideous. Terrible. Minato, you have seen it all, I want an explanation. Third generation's face is not good. It was no small mistake to kill the compatriots in front of two Hokage. Must be dealt with seriously. Sarutobi's surprise was that fourth Hokage, who respected him so much in the past, seemed to have never heard of him. He said the same, but walked in front of Danzo step by step. Until now, he has not realized the seriousness of the problem. I never thought about why that boy could face two Jinchuriki directly, or even catch one alive. Returned smoothly. I have never thought about why Yi Bajian has the confidence to dare to kill people so grandiosely. You did it to him, didn't you? Your shoulders are shaking, which means you can tolerate everything in the past. 3.5 Minato, who is invisible, has become extremely angry. The person in front of him knew that he would recast a person who didn't have much sense of belonging to Konoha. How difficult is the bondage? He knew that he had said before Bajian left, this time he would never be late as a teacher. At this moment, Minato finally understood. Why does Shisui appear in the Night Owl team? Everything the old man does is for the village. The knife, and Jinchuriki, can only be used to their fullest effect in the hands of the village. Danzo said blankly, seemingly saying something trivial. For the village. Minato smiled. Well, I will announce one thing in the name of fourth Hokage. For the sake of the village, disband the roots from now on. 9th more. Codewording. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 73 Bajian, help me take charge of ANBU. Who gives you the power? Namikaze Minato, pay attention to your manner of speaking. Minato. At the entrance of the village, Danzo's angry roar, Mitokado Homura's questioning, and third generation's shock all came to Minato's mind. I am Konoha's fourth Hokage. Just rely on this. For the first time, such serious Namikaze Minato made these people who have always regarded him as a puppet feel strange. As for Master Third Generation, I respect you as Hokage, but you have retired. And what Bajian said just now, did you think about it carefully? Any ninja who died on the front line has a lot more credit than you guys, even I can't compare to them. Flicking the Hokage cloak behind, Minato's figure disappeared in front of these people. Outside the village, there are only a few so-called high levels, and the arms on the ground tell of what happened here. Thanks. On the way home, Wooden Golem behind Bajian finally spit out 2 words. As a prisoner, it seemed even more humiliating to say this, but she still said it. Thank me for what? Bajian replied strangely. Approaching the house, his murderous aura and evil all disappeared. Bajian never returns to show those things in front of his relatives. Oh 4. If you give me a good man. That old man, it's not at first sight. Wooden Golem shook her head, she didn't say the rest. But no matter from which point of view, the result will not be too good. The captives are miserable. It seems that if you follow this kid, things will be much better. Just be treated as a kitty. There will be no missing piece of meat. The girl's eyes are full of helplessness, it's better than being locked in a small black room. Bajian didn't say anything about it. He never thought of handing the two tails to Danzo. Pushing open the door of Midarashi's house, Anko and Hong, these two good friends seemed to be talking about something. After seeing Bajian, Anko's surprise flashed, and then rushed over excitedly. Bajian held it in his arms. The mission this time is different from before. She also understands the risk factor. The joy of this reunion instantly dissipated the previous fears and fears. It's big again. Her Anko's Anko. Lying on a lounger in the Midarashi's yard, enjoying the warm sunshine, and my sister next to me. Twitter movement. Bajian suddenly felt that this was the life he wanted. Tilted his head, the kitten next to him waved the fan with one hand and shook the other with an unhappy face. He moved the recliner, and used it as a human-powered electric fan and a shaker. Tired. But again, compared with real captives, being a maid doesn't seem so shameful. Matter. Hey, my stupid brother. Suddenly an extra girl appeared in the house, still a very iconic girl. This excites Anko. The younger brother has grown up. Create. I know I brought a girl home. Road. It seems that the time to carry forward the Midarashi clan is about to come. Well, his brother never reveals his surname. In his words, it's ugly. What happened to Midarashi? Anko flipped straight to Byakugan. My stupid sister, what are you going to say? Opening his eyes lazily, Bajian asked. To be honest, whenever Anko calls him stupid brother, he always thinks of Itachi's face. I beg you, that's not your line. Is she the girlfriend you are looking for? Leaning over to Bajian, Anko quietly pointed to the kitten next to him and asked. Please, can you speak a little bit of a whisper? Also, where do you tell that I am this kid's girlfriend? Wooden Golem sneered disdainfully at the same age as Anko, and the shaking of the chair became larger. The old lady can't find a man. Need a kid to be a boyfriend. Not really, she doesn't deserve it either. Bajian sighed, maid and girlfriend are two concepts. One is to vent without scruples, and the other is to vent when finished. That's different. And the trophies are trophies, and the superior depends on performance. I'll go to the small black room to be studied. Suddenly don't want to be angry. Crying without tears by Wooden Golem. What did this kid say? Not really, she doesn't deserve to be his girlfriend. The old lady hasn't disliked your function and awakened. I've asked, Hong, she's just a maid, she doesn't threaten you, and you still have a chance. What's even more shameful is that after this woman got the news, she screamed at the one next to her. Kurenai Yuhi's woman shouted, dare you come to make sure of this? Turned over by Byakugan by Wooden Golem. But the most embarrassing one is not her. It's Kurenai Yuhi. Tiandi conscience, she just wanted to ask the girl next to her what she did. I didn't know that Anko went directly to confirm the identity of his love rival. You are really my best friend. The atmosphere in the courtyard is still warm. Lying on the recliner, Bajian smiled gently and looked at the scene in front of him. If Shi Yan is there, this kind of scene should be more intimate. It's a pity that she is going to school, and in Xian's words she must surpass herself. The little girl doesn't understand that when inspiration is going to surpass a person, she's destined to live there all her life. Under personal influence, she can't run away anymore. At this moment, a figure appeared in the courtyard. Blonde hair, his face is still red after a little anger. Minato is here. After seeing the scene in front of him, he suddenly felt that he was not here at the right time. Not even used. To be honest, he rushed past 103 in such a hurry because he was afraid that Bajian would pack his things and bring them in a rage. Left with Anko and became a rebel. If you get there, you really can't look back. This kind of thing must be done by the young man in front of him. Fortunately, the atmosphere in the yard was completely opposite to what he had imagined. The teenager was lying on a recliner and enjoying the warm time, with a smile on his face and the anger at the entrance of the village. On the contrary, sure enough, people like Bajian only show the warmest one when they treat their own people. But it's hard to do it with 3 words. There were not many Konoha who could walk into his heart. Ms. Minato, what's the matter? Leaning calmly on the recliner, Bajian replied that Anko and Hong said nothing. After seeing Hokage coming, they have already walked into the room. These 2 girls are very sensible, they know that the 2 have something to discuss. But it's a bit embarrassing by Wooden Golem. It's not going to go, after all, her identity is just a prisoner of Konoha. You keep fanning. Bajian glanced at her and said. Call line. You Wooden Golem breathed a sigh of relief and continued to fan. Little son didn't take this seriously, just watching Bajian's eyes gradually become more serious. Bajian, I need you. Help me take charge of ANBU. The 10th is sent. Thank you for your support. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 74. Pushing his heart to his belly, it became a fire in his heart. Help me take charge of ANBU. As Hokage, I said something shocking to a child at this moment. Such a scene. Wooden golem next to him was obviously taken aback. This boy is really good. And this kind of hostile character is also suitable for entering ANBU. But how old is he? Just a child, how can you become the person in charge of ANBU? But Hokage in front of him said it was extremely positive. The sincerity in the eyes does not seem to be false. Namikaze Minato, Konoha's golden glitter. It's really different. After a few seconds of silence, Bajian seemed a little surprised. The position of Minister ANBU has been vacant since Hitachi Tsukumo committed suicide. It is in charge of Kurenai Yuhi's father, Yuhi Mahong. And now, Minato actually wants to give this position to Bajian. The meaning is clear. He wanted to tie Bajian to Konoha completely. To become Minister ANBU means to enter Konoha's power center. ANBU is the assassination unit directly under Hokage. It can be seen that he will be Minato's real right-hand man by then. Don't rush to refuse first. Seeing Bajian not speaking, Minato gave a wry smile. Perhaps, what happened at the entrance of the village today made Bajian's original sense of belonging disappear. But Minato believes that given him time, he can still lead this child on the right path. The roots of Danzo, I have ordered to disband. From now on, hidden under the sunlight of Konoha, the only department guarding the village is ANBU. I will give you absolute trust and leave ANBU to you. In this regard, Minato has tried his best. And his sincerity impressed Bajian. Sun and Danzo just face each other. This is a plot that never appeared in the original book. Bajian touched his chin and looked at Minato in surprise. As Hokage, I analyze the situation in the village all the time. Turning a bad system into a good direction, I have always done this before. But Bajian, when you really want to change a village, you find that you are so powerless. Minato sighed, his face full of bitterness. In the upper ranks, he became the fourth Hokage. From the enthusiasm in the beginning to the helplessness at the end, who knows what he has experienced. Konoha's condition is not good. There is no one under him who can completely rely on and trust. I insist, there is only one Kakashi, but at that time Kakashi was still obsessed with Lin and Obito. And the appearance of Bajian reignited a fire in Minato's heart. This is why Minato has been tough recently. When you are helpless, you may be at ease, thinking about making no mistakes, and silently guarding the village. Please go up. But now the opportunity arises. The opportunity for change lies in this young man. He hesitated to counterattack when threatened. Criticize everything about Yi Jingpu, not even. He is different from himself, dare to fight against wood. Especially the words from the entrance of the village, Minato completely refreshed his understanding of Bajian. The ninjas who gave their lives on the battlefield have done a lot more than the village's old-fashioned family. It seems that this young man in front of him has grown a lot during this trip to the Kingdom of Thunder. With relief in his eyes, Minato reached out and put his hand on Bajian's shoulder. When you haven't grown up. Come, take good care of Konoha, and prevent this bad system from letting the village go to an incurable situation. Quote. Then when you grow up and have the ability to change everything, I will give this village to you. The dream depends on the younger generation, and then I die with peace of mind. I used to think so. But now, I changed my mind. A smile as warm as the sun appeared on Minato's face. Little son, as the name suggests. Since I want to change, why not just start? It's okay to entrust my beliefs to the younger generation, but if I don't work hard, as Hokage, what's the point of existence? Use our hands to make the village a better place. After working hard, we will talk about the dream to the younger generation. This way. It is the best decision. Quote. Does he understand? Bajian was completely stunned. In the world of Naruto, there will always be some people who say that they will entrust their dreams and beliefs to the younger generations, and let them. The next generation to complete this kind of words. For example, Senju Hashirama, he said this. And Minato. Before dying, he had high hopes for his son, and he was sure that his son could change everything. The facts proved that Naruto, with the protagonist Halo, did it, but it was still incomplete, even with. Senju Hashirama did the same. When Naruto dies, war will probably break out again, waiting for the next Ashura reincarnation. In Bajian's view, this kind of person who puts all his dreams on his descendants is irresponsible. It looks like parents expecting their son to become a dragon and their daughter as a phoenix. They seem to have forgotten the truth about doing what they don't want to do to others. You haven't done it, so why ask others to do it? What has been confirmed is. Today, little son is ready, and speaks her inner words without reservation. He wants to be a real Naruto. Change the system, change Konoha, and protect the things that ancestors Hokage desperately guarded. Put your heart to the bottom and talk with Bajian openly. It is always a little embarrassing to just talk unilaterally. Until now, Bajian has not answered a word. He was just watching Minato there. Is it hard for him to understand too much? Minato smiled wryly. In a daze, he remembered that the disciple in front of him was still a child. Is it too early to treat him as an adult? That's it, you say so much, can he understand it? Wooden golem next to it also flipped through Byakugan. He said that the sky was falling in disorder, but in the end, he still played the piano against the cows. What I said is very touching, but it's a pity, I found the wrong person. After all, it was just a little kid. The atmosphere is a bit awkward. Is it king? Minato didn't know what to say. What should be said, what should not be said. He has already told Bajian. Including what he wanted to do, he also told Bajian in disguise that he was the fire in his heart. And he is the shadow of fire. Danzo will not disband ANBU. After a long time, the calm Bajian finally said a word. Reaching out his hand, Zanpakuto, who was stuck in the yard, flew over and fell into his hand. Ms. Minato wants to change. But it's still not ruthless enough. There is only one way to completely eliminate the threat from the roots. Kang-chi, stand up and drag the knife. Bajian smiled. That is, hack them all to death. Ps. I wish all readers a happy Children's Day and always young. PSS. Readers, it's the beginning of the month, ask for a monthly pass. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chapter 75 Minato's Decision, the Beginning of Change. When Bajian talked about solving the root problem. Little son has got the answer he wanted. That is a recognition of what I have said for a long time just now. It is also a signal to help him in this situation. This means that the boy in front of you has agreed. There was a burst of excitement at first, but before Minato went down, he discovered that the young man was carrying a knife to chop the roots. At this moment, he turned Byakugan in shock. Some people say this is a joke, but some people don't. Yi Bajian is the latter. He said that if he wanted to cut down the roots, he would do that without hesitation. But right now, it's not an opportunity. Even if you want to remove the roots, remove that potential threat, it's not now. Moreover, the means of removal does not need to be so bloody and violent. The people at the root are not all cold-blooded animals, and there are many companions that can be saved. The Wood-style Junior A is an example. Just experience the turbulence of the Third Ninja World War, and there are also the motorcycles at the border and Thunder Country from time to time. Right now, neither the timing nor the situation can use Bajian's approach. Rushing civil unrest will cause panic in the village and even lose 607 faith in resistance. The most important point is that the evidence that the roots have harmed Konoha over the years, his masters, is not enough. Shimura Danzo has been in charge of the roots for many years. He has founded this organization since third generation took the position. His background is not something that Minato can contend with. Not to mention Sarutobi Hiruzen, who grew up playing with Shimura Danzo. Maybe Sarutobi is not involved in the roots, but his extra benevolence will definitely jump out to intercede for Danzo. This is for sure. Just like when Orochimaru defected and killed so many ANBU members in front of the third Hokage of Sarutobi Hiruzen, he can still release Orochimaru. But at that moment, Master Third Generation forgets the fallen ANBU ninja, behind them as a family. Perhaps from that day on, Konoha will have more children who lost their fathers, and a few more widows who have lost their husbands. Kindness, lethargy, and intolerance contributed to this series of tragedies. He did work hard for Konoha, but the methods were always close to meaning. So, since you want to do it, you have to pinch the opponent to death in one breath. Find all the evidence and let Master Third Generation understand what the roots have done over the years, so that he has no reason to intercede for Danzo. This is his plan. Minato is Hokage, and he must consider the problem from the point of view of Hokage. So, if you can't rush this matter, just leave it to me, and I will definitely give you a satisfactory result in the end. Finally standing in front of Bajian, Minato made his own suggestions. Oh, listen to you. Taking back Zanpakuto, Bajian shrugged his shoulders indifferently, but is it really appropriate for you to say this is Hokage? Give me satisfactory results, I am not Hokage. He is too lazy to bother to think about that kind of thing. It's the last word to practice with that skill. From beginning to end, Bajian only believed in one point. When the strength reaches a certain level, everything will come naturally. However, looking at the appearance of Little Sun, it seems that he has an idea about changing the village and governing Konoha. Bajian has some expectations for this. Even if you watch the original anime, there are 10 generations of Hokage, from Senju Hashirama to Naruto. Except for the second Hokage Senju Tobarama's extremely powerful means of governing Konoha, no other Hokage has that talent. Including Naruto. However, if it were Minato, what kind of scene would Konoha look like in his hands? Give him a hand. Bai Jing, this is my teacher. From the perspective of Minato, the teacher who broke his face for himself and Danzo, this is not easy. Right, Bajian. As if thinking of something, Minato suddenly lowered his voice and looked at Wooden Golem. Now Jinchuriki, what do you think should be arranged? Today, in addition to talking to Bajian about his thoughts, the existence of Wooden Golem is also extremely important. To be honest, Minato himself didn't think AEFJ to arrive, and his disciple went out and caught Niu Jinchuriki alive. Surprise, surprise. But looking back, it seems that how to deal with it is also a problem. There is no doubt that Konoha will have the upper hand in negotiations with Cloud Shinobi Village using Jinchuriki as a bargaining chip. But looking at Bajian's attitude towards Niu, it seems that he does not intend to let her go. So how to use this chip, Minato would like to ask Bajian. I thought you thought it all over. Bajian glanced at Minato in surprise. To be honest, I am really bad at politics. But I can give you a suggestion. 4 words, mainly drag. Cloud Shinobi Village lost more than just 2 tails this time. The teacher probably didn't know that 8 tails was also seriously injured. They don't have the confidence to fight a decisive battle. Raising his brows, Bajian smiled. 8 tails was also seriously injured. When he heard this, Minato's eyes widened in shock. Not only did the second tail go, but also seriously injured 8 tails. My disciple, what kind of battle has he fought in the country of need? And is his strength improving a bit too quickly? Minato thought it was a coincidence that Bajian captured Niu, but he did not expect it to be the result of the front hard steel. Unexpected surprise. In an instant, Minato had countless battle scenes in his mind. Bajian, so desperately for Konoha, came to the scene of the village entrance and chose to shoot without mercy. All the questions in my heart were resolved, and only trust was left. So if I were Hokage, I would only play around Cloud Shinobi Village that I want to negotiate. The longer I procrastinate, the better for Konoha. As long as there is no decisive battle, Konoha will take a rest every day and use the 2 tails to contain the opponent. They dare not go to war. This is the most correct way. Because once Konoha returns Neo to Cloud Shinobi Village, they will attack again, and the so-called peace talks will become an illusion. Only profit is the only way to solve the problem. Cloud Shinobi Village no longer has the clamoring capital. It's up to you how to arrange it and how to delay it. In short, if you don't give it to the 2 tails, they will be helpless if they hang each other. Anyway, the last paragraph. The most important thing, my cat, haven't played enough yet. Who is your cat? He pricked his ears and heard it clearly by wooden golems cursing in his heart. This bastard figured out Cloud Shinobi Village's calculations. It's hard to imagine why there are so many strange things in his head at his age. Understood. Minato is very clever and knows what to do next from Bajian's words. Okay, that's it for today. You just came back from a mission, take a good rest. If you have time, go and tell Shisui, saying that the Roots are already disbanded and you don't need to go back. When you rest and go to ANBU to find Yuri Junhong, I will greet him and let him teach you how ANBU works. Second more. Code word ING, ask for monthly pass. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running.